Hello and welcome along. This is 4020 Live, another Monday night, another 2 hours live rugby league debate. It's the awesome foursome. Yeah, we do call ourselves that, and why not? Gary Schofield is here. We'll get his opinions on the greatest game of all. Phil Kaplan, editor of 4020 magazine. And Richard Shaw-Wright, who's doing his best impression of Charles Bronson. Google it, you'll see what I mean. Super League Dream Team was announced today. 7 from St Helens. 3 from Wakefield, 2 from Wigan and 1 from the Catalan Dragons. Danny Maguire's come out and said Stevie Wonder must have picked the dream team. Who do you think missed out that should have been in it? Would you have picked Sean O'Loughlin, for instance? What about Bradford and Workington in the final for the League One playoffs? The winner goes up. The loser will play Swinton after Rochdale pulled off a miraculous recovery. And Toronto take on London in the £1 million game after Hull KR secure their place in the top flight. Also in the women's, it's Leeds Cass, Wigan, St Helens in the semi-finals, and plenty to talk about, including how can a team who got £500,000 off the RFL parachute payment only turn up with 13 players? Does the Rugby League need to take action against Derek Beaumont? I would ask you that one tonight. Also, Jermaine McGilvery's new contract, well done to him. And commiserations to Michael Channing, one of Scully's best mates, who's today announced his retirement from Rugby League. Very, very prematurely due to injury, so our thoughts with him tonight. As always, you can get in touch with the show via the 4020 Facebook page and also on Twitter at 4020 Live. Right, boys, we're at the real business end of the season. Yeah. Are you prepared to do this show with a broken shoulder, Gary Schofield?
Well, I'll tell you what, anybody who watched that game yesterday, the NRL, and you just felt as though, well, you know, Trent Robinson, you know when I talk about that, coaches don't make players, players don't make the coaches, but then the trust what Trent Robinson put in Cooper Cronk, you know, and because all week he wasn't playing, and all of a sudden on Friday, Cooper Cronk made a phone call allegedly to Robinson and said, right, I'm available. But when you watched it yesterday, and Phil Gould and Fittler and Andrew Johns, you know, the analysis, what they do, you know, they're not just commentating, but they're watching exactly what's going on, and they pinpointed at least four or five occasions, not just his organisation with the communication from there, but just protecting his number 6, because the number 6 was all over the place, and rightly so. After 40 minutes he was getting the man of the match, but you could just see he was just protecting him in there. So the trust what Robinson put in Cooper Cronk. By the way as well, last season there was a massive uproar because there was getting rid of Pearce for Cooper Cronk to get them where they want to get to. Massive uproar. I'll tell you what, Cooper Cronk take an absolute bouncing, because not just playing with a broken shoulder, I'm led to believe, a broken shoulder, but masterminding round. But also as well, he didn't take his responsibility from a point of view where organising. What about his defence at times? What about his defence? That has got to be the most.
He made more tackles with a broken shoulder than you made on a good day, didn't he?
I tell you what, mate, I agree absolutely. No, even more effective than me, making them tackle. So when you look at somebody who's playing with a broken arm and this sort of thing, the front row at Alan Prescott, you know, for Great Britain, it's got to go down as one of the most heroics. He was brought for a purpose, brought for a reason, and Cooper Cronk has delivered.
You mentioned the trust. What about the trust in the players? How did that not get out? The trouble he was in. That's amazing.
More than that as well. You mentioned that the coach gave him licence. They knew they were playing with 12 men, so the rest of the players to step up and agree to do his job. And the defence that they put in that first 40 minutes was as good as anything I've ever seen at club level. Intensity and speed off the line that completely knocked Melbourne out of the stride. And then, as if that isn't enough, it emerges today that Blake Ferguson played the last 30 minutes with a broken leg.
Do you know what as well, Phil, right? Do you know Melbourne, when they I'm sure when they heard about Cooper Cronk was going to play, but then when they saw him on the field, do you know what, Melbourne were like that? We can't beat the Roosters.
They couldn't get near enough to him.
Exactly. We can't beat the Roosters with Cooper Cronk again, because first of all, Cooper knows exactly what they're all about. He knows exactly what the players are like, not just as individuals, but a team collectively. And I bet you Craig Bellamy were like that. Oh no, can't bust his other shoulder. But one thing for sure, absolutely sensational. And yeah, you talk about heroics and you talk about toughness. You know, that wasn't mentally toughness. That was just sheer bravery. Yeah. Sheer bravery for the job what he was there to do, and he absolutely delivered. Sensational.
But you're right, how that didn't get out you know, if you equate the NRL to Premier League football over here. You know, somebody breaks wind and it's in the newspapers.
Yeah.
For him to be in, out, possibly having another fitness test, another injection, he is going to play, isn't going to play, for none of that to leak, absolutely massive. And full credit to the Roosters. It was, you know, the score would tell you 21-6 that it was one-sided. You couldn't take your eyes off it. It was one of the best games of the season in terms of intensity. Kiri, who apparently been telling everybody from the Sunday before, doesn't matter whether Cronk plays or not, this is how I'm going to dominate the game.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you want from your halfback. To have the confidence to say, leave it to me, whether he plays or whether he doesn't play, I'm going to take charge of this game. But the forwards were magnificent. You know, Jake Friend, they were just brilliant. There wasn't a bad one amongst them. In fact, apparently Dylan Napper is still out in his kit party.
Well, can you blame him? Can you blame him? What a game. Rich, did you watch it?
No, I didn't watch it.
You're busy having your haircut. A lot of people, by the way, admiring Richard's hair. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
We're
Beautiful.
talking of bravery.
Beautiful.
Why has he done it?
Well, yeah,
One of the
why haven't we?
bravest actions of the weekend.
I'll put a link on Twitter later from Brave the Shave. Great charity thing from Macmillan. So if you want to donate, I'll put the link. If you don't want to, that's fair enough.
Very
Don't
good.
want to just admire the fact he's got his head on upside down.
Yeah, people are going to wonder when you're going to do your face.
Well, that does need to come soon. I don't know when there's a special month.
What, plastic surgery?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about having a shave. Get something done with it.
We
Anyway, a very proud day for you, Richard. Not one, not two, but three
History
Wakefield
making.
players in the dream team.
history making aside from Wakefield. By the way, people moaning about the sound. I don't know what you're listening on because I've checked on my phone, I've checked on the laptop, and it's working fine. The
Okay.
microphones are working and everything.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, if you don't mind me
on
asking,
YouTube as well.
Gentlemen, if you don't mind me asking, I've not seen the dream team, so can you let me know what it is, please?
Oh,
I've not seen
Now,
it.
now you see, you're going to
Well,
test this
now,
now. Ben
now,
Barber is
Scully,
at full.
I just want to ask you because now, when we come to the end of this, you need to tell us if the rugby league media, who get some criticism sometimes, mainly from ourselves, whether they are in fact blind or not, as was the accusation by a former Leeds Rhinos star today on social media. So it's Ben Barber at fullback. He says padding while he waits for his computer to turn on. Tommy Makinson.
Yeah.
Mark Percival.
Well, the fullback had a debate that with Tompkins, but anyway, go on.
Right, yeah. Tommy Makinson.
Yeah,
Mark Percival.
yeah,
Bill Tupu.
yeah.
Tom Johnston.
I'd have gone for just Charlie, but anyway.
Fair
so,
enough.
Yeah.
Johnny Lomax.
Right,
Danny Richardson.
right, okay, right.
So I remember these from memory. Luke Thompson.
Yeah.
Shooing, absolutely.
Yeah.
James Roby.
Yeah.
Remy Casti.
Yeah.
Matty Ashurst. John Bateman.
Yeah.
Sean O'Loughlin.
Well, I'd gone for Greg Bird at loose fall from
What
there.
about Adam Milner?
Yeah, I
I'd gone for Greg Bird. You know, that was mine. But overall, I think I'm a big friend of Danny McGuire. I'm a big fan of it as well. So he said what Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder
Yeah.
picked this.
Yeah.
Moronic comment, I would say.
Say what? He's looking for a job in the media. Is a bit of a critic, is he?
I don't know.
I'll get ripped in.
You keep missing one.
What do you reckon? I mean, Sean O'Loughlin hasn't played a great deal, or
No,
he
he
hasn't played every week.
Yeah.
But
But when he does,
Let's
play,
be fair, if you're a coach of a team, you would have him in your team.
Yeah. I reckon that's the reason why he's being picked. It's not about how many games he's played. The games when he does play, it's all sheer quality. He's easily Wigan's best player week in and week out. When he does play, is the week when he does play from there. So if you're going on that, I guess it's like people last week couldn't wait to text me when Richie Myler got the Leeds Player of the Year, i.e. because of the stats. I guess if O'Loughlin's been picked for
Richie Myler is there, though. He's there. Stood behind the post with the rest of his team.
If O'Loughlin has been picked on the stats of what he contributes when he does play, Mark, well, I don't think there's any issue of putting him at loose forward.
I think you're right. I personally went for Adam Milner. The other thing for people who are looking at the journalist selections to realise is it is on rounds 1 to 23 of the regular season. Doesn't include any of the playoffs. Doesn't include the Challenge Cup. Doesn't include any internationals. So you have to look at something. Why is Ben Barber? Because for the first 20 rounds of the competition, he was by far the star player. So I get Tompkins has been absolutely consistent, but for those 20 rounds, Barber was the superstar.
Yeah, I agree with that, Phil. Yeah.
So I think the shame is perhaps that there aren't more people we can throw in. I think we should pay credit to St Helens because I'm not sure, but I think 7 is the most any team has ever had in a dream team selection. Stand to be correct. I can remember some 6s from various clubs, but I don't remember anybody getting 7. which is a testament to how they played in those first 23 rounds, far and away the best team. We just need more players to be thrown into the mix. So we need to have an argument for the next 20 minutes that certain people haven't been selected. But I reckon at least 10 or 11 of the 13 we're all agreed on.
Yeah, I think that. Interesting. Let us know your thoughts. Plenty of people doing that.
The big winner, as you rightly pointed out at the beginning, is Wakefield. To have 3 players in is a testament to not only this season but last season as well. I know that the form is solely about the first 23 rounds, but you can see how the club's building when they've got 3 players in the dream team. Castleford don't have any. Wigan only have 2. Warrington, who are in the semis, don't have any. So I think that shows the quality that Wakefield have we've enjoyed this year, haven't we? The way that they've played.
Scott, just a quick one. I mean, the England squad getting announced, we understand, tomorrow. Who would be on the wing for England? No Ryan Hall, of course. So McGilvery, well done to Jermaine McGilvery, by the way. New long-term contract for him at Huddersfield. Who would be on the other side?
It's a position where we don't struggle, isn't it? When you look at wingers, we don't struggle for that. We don't struggle for front rowers. We don't struggle for hookers. We don't struggle for full-backs. So you can sling anybody in there, can't you? Make it will be one. But I say McGilvery, you look at there, and say Charlie, who's been outstanding. Johnson, who's been outstanding. Plenty of choice there, mate. And one thing for sure, anybody who does take the place of Ryan Hall, they won't look out of place in the England jersey.
Who would you pick? Would it be Makinson? He obviously played in the test, didn't he? So has he got...
To be honest with you, if I'm going on form, and I know, McGilvery's done a good job for England, but the way I'm looking at it at this moment, I'd go with Makinson and Charlie for England.
For France, I'd go Makinson and Johnston. And I would bring...
Is he fit, Johnson? I thought he was injured for the rest of the season.
I think he's down tomorrow or something. He should be okay.
Right.
But then I'd certainly bring McGilvery back for the Test series with New Zealand, who will pick their squad today, and 7 of the big names are back. So going to be a real test. Looking forward to that.
It is. What's happening on social media, Rich?
Everyone moaning generally. I'm going to go to YouTube first. We don't usually go to YouTube.
Go on, we'll go to you. You can watch on YouTube live. Apparently, it's easy to put it on your TV. Now, why do you want to watch us for? Beautiful.
Put you off your dinner.
Well, that might be why. We could be sponsored by Weight Watch.
Neil says Roosters versus Storm was another level amazing. Brian's listening from the States this evening. You're not allowed to listen, Brian. It's only people from the north of England. You're not allowed to listen from anywhere else. Andrew's been on talking about reserve teams. He's a Halifax fan. If it was made mandatory, this problem wouldn't exist. This is where the money went out of Super League and the lack of balls shown by the RFL are the root cause. Interesting. I spoke to Danny Richardson today, who mentioned at the end, because I asked him about him and Jake Truman, the future stars, halfbacks in this country, talking about the fact that if we had reserve grade rugby, there might be more opportunities for these 18, 19, 20-year-olds to develop.
I think what's great though is we've got the Championship Shield decider this weekend.
It's going to be 9-a-side.
Yeah, and it's the first qualifier for the 9-a-side World Cup.
Can I ask a question? This is a serious question now, right? Leigh Centurions were given £500,000 to ensure the financial security of that team. Now, players have come out on social media and said they played for free yesterday.
The few who did, yeah.
The few that turned up played for free. They had no substitutes. They were down to 12 within 20 minutes. Derek Beaumont, I'm going to ask the question now. Should he be getting banned from owning another rugby league club or being involved in a rugby league club again? Because how has he been allowed to do this? And he's come out, and I would ask him to his face, and you know the rule here, if he wants to come on, he can come on whenever he wants. He has had all that money. Now, I know he's put a lot of his own money in. No one twisted his arm up his back and said, look, Derek, you're going to have to put 2 million in or 1 million in. You put in what you want, Derek. You've got $500,000 there to start with, plus whatever other central funding they got. So where the hell has all the money been spent? And then he's saying to players in the public domain, oh, they're holding the club to ransom. They're holding the club to ransom because they won't leave, so they've got better offer. Well, hang on, you've offered them a contract, Derek. If you can't pay it or you don't want to pay it, don't offer them the contract. I'm just wondering now if the time is, should the Rugby League say, I'm sorry, Mr. Beaumont, but you're banned?
I think the interesting thing is that £500,000 probably didn't have enough terms and conditions attached to it.
They've just given them £500,000, haven't they?
And that's not the RFL, that's the other Super League clubs who will be doing the same for Widnes. And again, there was a lot of debate on Sunday before the game with Hull KR. It was almost in Widnes' interest to be the sole team to be relegated, so that they knew that £500,000 was ring fenced for them. So I think if you are going to have parachute payments, there has to be stipulation on how that is spent.
Yeah.
And in an ideal world, it should be spent on the infrastructure of the club, to maintain things like reserves and academy, people's jobs behind the scenes, rather than just given to players or players being told to go, who were the money was supposed to be earmarked for to secure them and go out and buy other people. I think the problem from the outside looking in at Leigh has been they've just paid far too much money to players who they thought were going to get them out of the Championship, and that's just bad accountancy, isn't it? I'm not sure that's bans you from ever owning a club, but the actual contracts given out to players was just ridiculous.
Can you remember at the start of the season?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're going to say.
Can you remember at the start of the season when
Yeah.
we put that tweet out?
Yeah.
17 players. How many NRL players have made so many appearances? How many players have played in Super League appearances there? Absolute shambles. And to be honest with you, it should be brought by the RFL and bringing the game into disrepute.
I'm not sure it's the RFL. I think the people of Leigh deserve some answers from.
Well, I think that I get the impression
he has put
that
money
is why the players played yesterday.
Yes.
I wonder how close,
For
at
the
what
fans,
point
yeah.
they went. I'll tell you what, fellas, we're not going.
Well,
we're not going.
what happens this week? If they haven't been paid this week, are they going to go to the
Well,
Championship?
not only that, but they picked up some quite bad injuries last week. You know, Mickey Hyam tweeting saying, you know, he can't believe what has happened to the club he loves. I mean, this is gone too far now. And as a sport, we were clamouring for TV. With Championship should be on TV. Oh, here's the teams. Oh, they ain't got any subs because they can't be bothered.
And let's be honest as well, Featherstone, who they're facing, didn't have a full complement yesterday either. I think the issue about reserve grade is absolutely tied into the fact that it's not about any of that. It's about how many people are playing this game at the moment. We've said right from the very beginning that participation is the most important thing. You go out and get your television deal, absolutely no problem at all, but what will you be filming in 3 years' time if people stop playing the game? So that this isn't, you know, with the greatest respect, NCL turning up with 12 players, which happens in the community game. You know, team have got a wedding 1 week and they can't get a full complement. This is the second team. It's all, you know, let's be honest. Featherstone and Leigh are the 17th and 18th team in the competition.
Yeah. This is not, with the best will in the world, if West Wales, I know they did it once, they turned up with 12 at West Wales, but if this were them, Rich, we'd be clamouring, some people, kick them out, they don't bring anything, get rid of them.
Kick them all out.
This is Leigh Centurions, we're in Super League last season.
How many of their players were on loan from Hull yesterday?
Hull had three.
Three.
So they had 10 of their own players.
Featherstone Rovers, who've proven over the last few weeks they can't put a squad together without relying on Leeds as cast-offs. Is that fair?
Maybe.
Or players who need to come back from injury?
Or young players who are being given an opportunity.
Or do we look at it the other way? And does it say that once their hopes of getting into the playoffs were over, should that have been the end of their season?
Yes.
And therefore we wouldn't have had this farcical
Absolutely.
situation of seeing 13 against whatever.
I also think that the one thing we haven't discussed is a duty of care aspect. That a governing body, and this isn't just having a go at the RFL for the sake of it, but what is the point of having HIAs and trying to look after players better than we ever have, but you allow games to go ahead with 12 against 17? Now, it's in the bylaws that it can go ahead. Well, then change the bylaws, because they're clearly wrong.
Yeah, I agree. And this is not a criticism of the Leigh fellas that turned up yesterday. They're heroes. I think
Absolutely.
if you're there as a Leigh fan, I think you're fully behind what those guys have done, because I dare say, Scully, a couple of them have picked up knocks and thought, I could do with coming off here.
Absolutely.
They can't go off, can they?
No.
It's ridiculous.
But also,
Farcical.
the other thing is, we're an entertainment sport. So the fans at Dewsbury yesterday, although they would have loved to have seen their team put 50 points on the opposition, they were shortchanged. They were not going to see a competitive game. If you know, I know Featherstone won with 14 men, but it's not right.
And I know not everything is about gambling. This is the reason why the 19-man squads were brought in the first place, because players couldn't be trusted. They want to be trusted with everything. But what about, bearing in mind that two of our principal sponsors are bookmakers, and they're giving, you know, the squads at the start of the week. How can anyone trust the games of the weekend?
Well,
and that sounds like probably the wrong word to use. But
How many players do you see asterisk not named in the original 19-man squad?
But this is different.
Is this partly because the season is too long for everybody?
I don't know. I
Where's the
look at
academy
that. I
players?
mean, yeah, exactly. If you've got an academy, where's the academy?
Newcastle have got an academy. Could play a lot of kids.
Yeah.
But there's still a
There's
duty
an-
of care
next-
aspect to that
yeah,
as well.
Next door to the Leigh Stadium, there's the Leigh Miners. You know, why couldn't they knew they got some injuries? Why didn't they say
Because
anything, lads, you know?
they can't register them. There's a cut-off date for registering players.
You know, surely common sense could prevail rather than going with
Well.
12 men. Surely you could say, listen, man, you know, 8 of you, please, an opportunity to play for Leigh.
Yeah.
Anyway, Genghis has been on,
Yes.
and he says Derek and Marwan need to sail off into the sunset now. Well, unfortunately, Genghis, we need to keep these people in rugby league because they've been so successful in their clubs. That's what I'm told by other people within the rugby league media. So there you go.
Can I ask you a favour of everyone as well who's watching and listening? Share it with your friends, retweet, do whatever you need to do. Let people know we are here. What's up, Rich? Are you getting worried?
Yeah, it's people are mourning, and apparently it's working, so I don't know what people are mourning about.
No, well, never mind. Never mind. Well, plenty of people are getting in touch, so keep your tweets coming in at 4020 Live. You can, in fact, we'll do a real test. What we'll do is while he smashes the set. You know what's this set cost to put
I know.
together, Rich?
Every
You
morning.
show some
Hours,
respect.
definitely.
Of the table of tap takes hours to put together.
Yeah, I can hear it.
I can hear you.
I can hear it. Can you hear it? I can hear it. You hear it?
That's
We
definitely
can all hear it. That's me talking, man. Mark said that's better. We ain't even pressed anything. We ain't even pressed anything.
Do we want to talk about Leeds?
Are we
Not
allowed
really.
to work on Leeds?
Oh, well, I should say, by the way, because people are asking us on Facebook, we're not talking about it because we can't talk about it. But in a couple of weeks, we'll talk about it.
What's that?
Him. You know him we do.
Oh, yeah. We can't, for legal reasons,
Yeah,
we can't talk about it.
But we will in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Marching on together says Leeds realistically need 6 to 8 new players to do anything next year. I think pretty much Kevin Sinfield said that after the game. He was. I don't think he enjoyed doing that press conference after the match.
It's as nearest as you would get to livid without him actually looking livid. You could tell that having spent all week saying we want to make a statement and we want to finish top of the qualifiers.
They didn't make a statement. They're rubbish.
Not quite the one he was expecting.
Scott, you and I, both last week, both tipped up Toronto, mate. We were right. They're not good enough, Leeds, are they?
No, mate, and I say we've been saying it all season regarding the quality, the lack of quality, and even Kevin now has identified we haven't got enough quality. And so the situation is now, and he said, well, yeah, we know we need to bring quality players in, but where they're going to get them from? You know, where is that quality around from there? The salary cap's up. They've got literally everybody signed up for next year. So how they're going to bring the quality what they need? It's very, very frustrating, certainly for all the Leeds fans, and certainly for myself. And when I saw that performance on Friday, I thought, boy, oh boy, you know what? Next season's going to be another long, hard, dire season. We're going to get nowhere near the top 6. We're going to get nowhere near the top 6.
Paul's asked you a question. What players would you keep at Leeds?
Well, maybe that. Have a think about
yeah,
that.
you can't get shove them all, can you? But there's just not enough quality. When you look right, because I'll put it in my column here. When you look at the top 4, you look at the top 4 this year, and the top 4 Tompkins is still about. But when you look at the top 4 this year, right, the spine of their sides, Wigan, St Helens, Cass, and Warrington. Have a look at the spine of the Leeds side. Who are the champions? Have a look. Have a look at the spine of the Leeds side. It's just nowhere near good enough quality for where we should be. And I know I criticised it when it was a signing, but and I ain't going to change my mind. I'm not going to change my mind. And still, if we think Richie Myler is going to get us to where we want to get to, and I know it's not just one
I
player.
think we need to say player of the year, Richie.
Yeah, all right, Phil. Yeah.
You know what?
Ollie,
That's
Ollie,
like saying you're
Ollie,
the best person in this
Ollie,
team.
Ollie,
You know what I mean?
I've been the runner-up in the way.
Yeah, have you seen this?
Look
Have
at
you
that.
seen
Ollie
this?
on stats.
Richard Shawwright has bought
Yeah.
his memorabilia.
That's what these
That's
are
it.
playing for.
the only thing I've got.
Under 13s cup runners up.
That's worth more than the championship.
You got a few of these, haven't you, Ledge?
I'm just going to say,
You've got a few of them,
it's exactly the same as all my medals, runners-up medals. Is that what he's brought in for? But when you look at the spine of the top 4 sides and compared to what we have and what we're going to be doing, we're not getting anywhere near the top 6 next year. And I felt sorry when I saw Kevin on Friday on the television. You could see not just he was upset, but you could see the frustration, thinking, you know what, are we this bad? And you know what, on Friday night he admitted that's how bad we are.
Here's a thought. Would Leeds be better if Kevin Sinfield played? Now.
Well, he could play the Cooper Cronk role, couldn't he? He could just be out there,
Yeah.
but play with 12 men and him behind directing everything.
I tell you what.
Perhaps that's set a precedent.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you what a triangle this would be. Schofield up loose forward, Maguire at 7, and Sinfield at 6.
I'm not sure you could play with 10 men.
Scully's wanting to get into the dream team next year because if Sean McLaughlin's injured all year, you're in there because there's only one loose forward.
What a triangle that would be for organisation, creativity, kicking game, and a bit of vision and a bit of awareness. But anyway, we've just not got enough quality, and I felt sorry for Kevin. I did. I totally felt sorry for him when I was watching that game, and when I saw him on the sidelines from there, and he's realised. But and fair play to him. He's been open and honest. He's realised now the quality what they have got is simply not good enough for what he's been associated with. For what, how long's he been there, Phil? For the 20 years what he's been there with.
To make any change, they're going to have to make a decision about if they pay some existing players off who are under contract. They've got some.
Have they got the money to do that?
Well, that's a decision that the board has to make. It has to be money outside of anything that's been budgeted for. They've got some signings coming in. They've got some juniors
Who
playing.
have they got, Phil?
playing
Coming in?
Well, they've announced 2 already. There'll be at least a couple more.
Who's? Oh, you mean the Tongan
Lolley and McClellan have already been announced. There'll be a couple more. I think the under-19s who got to the grand final, there'll be 3 or 4 of them who might make it. And there are a number of injured players like a Callum Watkins to come back, Stevie Ward. So I think the decision is there are some guys who we know are signed now for next year or the year after. Do we make them an offer to terminate their contract to give us the space to bring others in?
Again, another big dilemma for Leeds is, and I say he was supposed to take over Kevin, wasn't he? Liam Sutcliffe, where's he going to play? What does he bring to Leeds? What does he bring, Liam? He brings absolutely nothing. He brings nothing. All right, he might kick a few goals now and then, but apart from that, he brings nothing.
Now
Kainos has been one of our best players.
Well, I don't understand why.
I don't understand it. I don't.
Mark says, is this Leeds 1997 revisited? Also on this topic, Nigel says, Leeds have the worst props and second row forwards ever. Oh, it's a bit harsh.
I think it's hard to say the worst ever. I do think though, for all going on, I think that pack is poor. It's poor.
What they've missed more than anything, and I'm sure that everybody's fed up with talking about Leeds. Fortunately, this is
wait.
This is the last. Yeah, no, I mean the listeners.
Well, don't worry. We've done next week.
We've done more than 5 minutes, so it is the last one. They've severely missed Mitch Garbutt, who was their leading meter maker in terms of props. Absolutely, he probably has been the biggest miss of them all, and he will be back next year.
So they're a one-man team.
No, that's one of the forwards they've missed, along with quite a few others in the second row who haven't been able to play very much this year. And he will be back next season.
Someone made a great point on, I think it was the Guardian's comment section this week, that Leeds' best forward this year until he got injured was Ryan Hall. The amount of ball he took up. And
Well, he should have got the player of the year right now.
I would have.
Easily.
Yeah,
Any
I
show
would've
above anybody else.
Definitely should have been.
Should have been the player of the year
Him and
right
Tom
now.
Briscoe have had very good years as auxiliary props.
Sandy's been on. She was at the Leeds Toronto game and loved it. I was suffering from an emotional hangover the day after. Hashtag happy Canadian. Well, anytime Leeds lose, there's an emotional hangover. Sadly, not too many.
I tell you what, no. Can I just say this as well? You know what I've been on about how easy it is to set up for drop goals.
Yeah.
O'Brien's 45 metres out. So why hasn't anybody got to him? Why hasn't anybody shouting, O'Brien, why hasn't anybody got to him? He just literally he could have put the leather out of it, you know, the lace out of it back in our days. Why did they not put any pressure on him? You know, it's just so easy for him, you know, to no pressure on there.
There aren't many who could have dropped that goal from 45 metres.
It's pretty good.
There's a real skill in that.
Yeah, but even so, you
Yeah,
got
but Phil, he's organising 45 out. You know he's going to do it. Why ain't anybody pressurising him? There should have been the half back, or there should have been the hooker. Where's O'Brien? Where's O'Brien? It's easy. It's easily done.
So who's winning on Sunday? Let's get on to Toronto.
Well,
the other side of the equation.
Toronto's
Your 2 favourite teams.
Toronto's going to beat London. Yeah.
Really?
Danny Ward, coach of the year. Have you got any words for him?
Sensational. Well done, Danny. Well done, London. Yeah, absolutely. Well done. You know, and I gave them a reason at the start of the season why I didn't think they would make the top 6. Why I didn't think they'd make the top 8. I think they said 10, didn't they? But anyway, no, all credit to Danny, all credit to the players, taking on board exactly the way that he wants them to play. They've enjoyed themselves, expressed themselves. I just think Toronto, they'll just have a little bit too much quality over the 80 minutes period, and you know, I reckon they'll do by
between the two teams
by about 10 points, you know. So, but do you know what? It's all about who can handle the pressure. There's no pressure on
And
London.
London need to get off to a good start because that's what did
Well,
them when they were out
there,
there.
Yeah.
Well, big Toronto. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, yeah, but they say there's no pressure on London, so they could go there, play with that freedom. play with that expression, which they do under Danny Ward. So it's all on Toronto. So the question is, can Toronto handle the pressure? And how's Toronto's discipline going to be?
That's the thing.
Just say for it, if Phil's mentioned there, if London do get off to a good start, they get off to a 6, 8, 10 point lead, pressure will be on. It's all about the discipline.
Couple of things on, well, one on Toronto first of all. Sid, who as we know is a massive Toronto fan, fully behind the Toronto project.
Right from the beginning.
He says Leigh would have had a full team, had a team 3,000 miles away, not force them out of the top 4. What, by signing all their players and their coach? Back on to Leigh, wobbly-headed Bulls been on. Genuine question to Fev Rovers and Leigh Centurions fans. If your clubs can't raise full 17s next week and they get together and choose not to play the game, do you A, feel cheating out the climax of the season, or B, respect their stance for player welfare? It's the Championship Shield, wobbly-headed.
So is the talk about that Featherstone and Leigh can't raise teams?
Well, they can't.
Leigh had 30
Yeah, I know,
players
yeah, I know
yesterday,
they
and 2 of them got injured.
And they can't sign anybody, so they need.
I'll tell you what, you're making yourself available, boys.
Have you got that knee bandage, Phil?
I mean, I am
Make
free
it
on
up.
Sunday. I'm not doing anything Sunday apart from some babysitting. I can try and get out of it. So if Fev wants to sign me
Well,
up,
you've
I'll
got
go
the
play.
pedigree.
Yeah.
Well, I'd have to play for Leigh because Featherstone fans don't like me from scoring that interception
To be
in
honest,
95.
Leigh fans aren't too keen.
I'm still getting ripped in by the Featherstone fans for scoring that interception in 95. I still get ripped in, Phil, so I'll have to play for Leigh.
What interception?
Make myself for Leigh. What do you mean, what interception?
Never heard of it.
It was
Never
a
heard of
beautiful.
it.
Challenge Cup semi-final.
It was a
Never
beautiful.
heard of
It was a beautiful Mark Aston, right in the bread basket, 75 yards off you go, Ledge.
While
Off you go.
we're on Toronto, just because it's been mentioned here on social media by Genghis, hashtag free Ryan Briley. Where is he? What's going on?
Yeah, why
He
didn't he
was
play?
there.
Why didn't he play?
He's not been selected at the moment.
Interesting.
Perhaps he could go to Leigh on loan.
Yeah. Toby's impressed by the way Headingley's looking these days. He does look very
I'll tell you, you know Rod, our friend, he has a whinge about the pitch and everything at the Lamport, and I get that, right? That is something that's easily fixable. It's not the end of the world. I've watched a couple of games on the telly, been lucky enough to working on a Friday. It looks majestic at Leeds. The stands full, close to the pitch. I know it's a bit of work in progress. The pitch looks great. That is what we want our sport to look like. When you look at it on the telly, it just looks great, doesn't it? I think it does anyway.
It's almost as good as this pitch.
Yeah.
It's not quite as good as this pitch.
Well, you know, I was watching one of the NFL games last night and you could see the soccer markings.
Yeah, well, what about the one where they're playing the baseball
Oh,
field
yeah.
and they've got all the... No, it's terrible. So it does happen in other sports, and I would think if that's all we've got to moan about Toronto, then I think fair play. By the way...
I was going to say, what would be interesting, just stepping back from the eights, and we can talk about the standard of the qualifiers, not so much the results. If Toronto do win and get promoted, we'll have Widnes being relegated, who are 8 points behind everybody else in Super League. We'll have Toronto being promoted, who are 8 points ahead of everybody in the Championship. Why have we gone through the qualifiers?
I guess, is that not the scenario we want? We don't always get that though, do we? Because this is the first year the team that's finished bottom has got relegated.
But this is exactly what we'll get going back to 1 up, 1 down. So
yeah.
why are we still persisting with 29 matches?
Well, I agree.
When the formula actually works. I mean, Rich and I did a piece after the game on Friday.
Available on
Critically
the...
acclaimed. Critically
Yeah.
acclaimed.
Well, by one
criticised
person.
anyway.
Two people.
Yeah, where do we watch it?
Be honest. What were your thoughts when the final whistle went? Relief that what you'd watched the 80 minutes before?
Yeah,
It's
finally
finally
over
over.
now. Yeah, it wasn't very
Assuming,
good.
you know, the Toronto story is amazing. To you know, within 2 years to go from not existing to winning at
Beat the
Headingley to be
champions.
on the verge of promotion is an astonishing story. But have we really seen a quality game in any of the qualifiers?
Would-
Apart from maybe Toulouse and Toronto, which was close, but again, are we seeing the quality?
I think we did. Look, we all know they played too many. We all know that.
Yeah.
But what annoyed me, and I pulled Chris Sorman up on this on social media, the Huddersfield coach, friend of the show. We love him obviously. But he went, "Oh, glad all these meaningless games are over." I said, "Well, to be fair, Chris, if you're at the start you have this year, next year, you're gonna have a lot more meaningless games next year. So it ain't gonna change. You know, it's not. The other teams have got to catch up. Otherwise, you're gonna have a lot of meaningless games. So." Need to sort out. Andy wants to know if it's Richard's birthday.
No, that's in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, he might even have a shave then.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what as well, fellas, can we give you the applause as well to Wilkinson Rovers? What a crowd they had yesterday, over 8,000 people there. That's a brilliant turnout, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. They've done
Brilliant.
well.
So you know, when they got relegated last year and whatever, and they say they stuck by him, all the sponsors and the crowd as well, and they say over 8,000 yesterday. Well done to all you OKR fans. Sensational. Brilliant.
And the same to Toronto, who have a similar amount of fans for
Well, I
Virgin.
just want to pick up on.
Well, they had 2,000 people in that pub, didn't they? As well, they tweeted that out, so it must be true.
I just want to pick up on something you tweeted about. They're making it free, I think, aren't they?
They're offering a season ticket holder who
Yeah.
has supported them can bring someone to the.
Yeah.
I mean, there's two reasons for that. One is because it's a public holiday in Canada.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
So I
Canadian,
think
yeah.
again, people will have already made arrangements to perhaps be away that weekend. But it's a reward for loyalty. I think this is a game they could charge for because it's outside of a season ticket.
Yeah.
So I think to say to the hardcore of fans in a one-off moment where they could achieve the aim of promotion to Super League, to say if you've supported us, we'd like to give you something back. I think that's a really good initiative that should be supported, and it's nothing like throwing out free tickets for a Challenge Cup final that's got over 100 years of tradition that you're devaluing by doing that. I think that is a loyalty scheme that actually should be lauded, and if they get 8,500 or even more, I think just under 10 is the most they can get in there under the health and safety over in Canada, which apparently is a lot more stringent than it is here.
I don't know. They look quite busy in that bar.
But I think there are plans already in place to not so much renovate Lamport, but to bring it up to Super League standard.
Well,
if they
Can't we get over there to that bar? It's too far.
No, we're
Can't
not.
we
We're
get
not
over
in
there?
the in crowd of the rugby league media. Alan says
We've
Toronto.
been, you know, as they say, you get blackballed, Scott.
Yeah.
Well, you've been blackballed, and sadly, we've been blackballed because we hang around with
Guilty
you.
by association.
infamy by
Yeah.
association.
Here's
It's a
Alan,
bit harsh.
who's because we're very positive about Toronto because you know we've got some biscuits once.
Yeah, who ate those biscuits?
Well, you don't think I was going to leave them here for you?
Yeah,
Toby,
because
do you?
it was like we got like a bottle opener,
Yeah.
which was very nice,
Yeah, well,
and we think that's nice. Yeah, we'll get some bottles in and some biscuits, and
Yeah.
yet the biscuits were empty.
No, they weren't empty. They were at one stage full, and they were very nice.
Do you know about this legend?
No.
The good news is, of course, for people on YouTube, you get to see something, two bonus items on the
Got
desk.
biscuits going. You're not having one, Phil.
The table of tatters has been crowned.
The table of tats.
There are two things you can see on YouTube that you can't see on Facebook, so do tune into YouTube and bump up the numbers there. Alan, though, he's compared Toronto to another team who were out of their heartlands and came like a comet and then disappeared. Celtic Crusaders, who of course had their own local TV deal, and then got into Super League, and then it all went wrong. It might not go wrong. Toronto might be a big success. We don't know, but we haven't tried.
Are they salary capped Toronto? Or have they got
Well, yeah.
things to do what they want? So the salary cap 1.8 million. So
I don't think Celtic Crusaders said we won't take any money just to prove how much. I spent a bit of time with David Argyle this weekend about.
Did you sort us a trip?
Don't worry. When if they get promoted into Super League, 5-star. But
That's for us three. What about him?
yeah, no, he's not invited.
Oh, right.
The plans that they have are not plans for next week or next year.
Mm.
I mean, plans about putting rugby balls in kids' hands in Canada.
Mm.
There is a huge promotion that I think he will announce, so it's not for us to do. I think the plans he has got for his stadium, and not so much turning it into something that will drain all the atmosphere from it, but will retain the essence of what they've got there, which is an amazing fan involvement. And if people want to know why we're so pro Toronto, one of the reasons I am is because they have genuinely brought over 8,000 people to a game who knew nothing about rugby league. So I get Celtic Crusaders was great, and the very first game they had up in the north when they were at Wrexham, they got about 11,000, but they couldn't sustain it, even though it was a rugby country. What Toronto seem to be doing is breeding the kind of loyalty in a new market that this sport desperately needs.
People keep telling me we need more money in rugby league, and the fact of the matter is we need to go to new markets to find that money. And Toronto may or may not be the answer. Coventry might be money in Coventry on new players and Newcastle and West Wales with their new coach.
Hey, listen,
But
fellas,
whether it's
we're,
something more
hey,
money,
we're all
well, we are
right
now.
we're all right talking about Toronto now, well, we can't look after the zone. What about Liam Featherstone?
Well,
Should we be looking at
yeah,
more
but
at home?
It's not
That's not-
like
well,
you're not comparing like with like.
Do we? I'm not being rude. Do we? Is that not the answer to your argument? What about Liam
I
Featherstone?
was just going
They've
to say
had
that.
their go,
Yeah, they've had their
and
finals.
they've not done it.
I agree.
So,
So why are the diehards moaning about with Toronto the success what they're having? It's laughable at times, isn't it?
I
Laughable.
get some of the argument is they haven't generated any of their own players. That's because there isn't the sport.
Give it
So-
time.
But if they are prepared to unveil a programme to put rugby balls into the hands of up to 100,000 children in the Ontario region, they have got plans in hand.
I don't know the exact figures and timescale, but if you look in Sheffield in 1991, there was no top division ice hockey team. Then they put one in there and it went up from the divisions, blah, blah, blah. And we're in 2018 now, so that's 27 years on. And a player from Rotherham has just been drafted by a club in the biggest league in the world. He may never play in that league, but that's a player from Rotherham who would never have seen ice hockey
Melbourne-
without the team being in Sheffield.
Melbourne Storm's model, a team who we, all right, didn't finish the job this week, but we've admired all year the way they've played, had a model whereby they drafted some of the biggest names in the sport down to an unfamiliar city to create a market. I think, is it only about half a dozen players who've come through Melbourne are from Melbourne because they don't play rugby league in Melbourne. I think everybody would agree Melbourne have been a massive asset to the NRL.
If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We,
But
yeah.
we gain nothing from not trying.
Yeah.
I don't know of any other owner at this stage who would forsake £2 million to prove to the rest of the competition that they were serious about what they were doing.
Is it time for franchising to come back?
No.
Why not?
No, because I said the likes of your Featherstone, they said, I'll just throw them out, won't give him. No, I'm not into franchising back.
Yeah, but they've got a chance to get in now and they can't even put 17 players on the
Yeah,
field.
well, so I'm not having franchising. No, I'm not having it.
So if Ireland, who we believe want to put a team in, if Ireland, there's a guy in Ireland says, there you go, I'll put 10 million quid in, that's my money for 3-4 years, I want in. But I
Right,
want
is he
in
going to put
Super-
well, is this right? Is this all just...
No, I'm asking you. Well, David Argyle's done that. I mean, he hasn't put that team in on 200 quid a game, are they? They're on big money. So he's come in and put his money in. He's had to wait his time.
Right, all right then. All right, so you're putting something there. Yeah, if somebody of that sort of magnitude is looking to put that sort of money in, then yeah, for 3 or 4 years, and then if you can see the results, then maybe I may with franchise. But at this moment in time, no.
Do we need to aim a bit bigger? That's what I'm thinking. Instead of,
I think
you know...
the next cab off the rank, who've been accepted now into the Challenge Cup for 2019, we believe, are Red Star Belgrade. Now again, a little bit like David Argyle at Toronto, they do have a couple of very big backers, one of whom is a construction magnate who has Australian origins, a bit like Argyle does, but does a lot of his business in Serbia. And he is very keen on saying, we'd like to be in the Challenge Cup 2019 and we're happy to play all the games away just to prove that we'll fund all that.
What level are they playing at now then?
Well, they're in the Serbian Premier League, but they would have access to all of the players in Serbia and players of Serbian heritage. So the Australians, for example, have just picked the two Trbojevic brothers. They are of Serbian origin. So who's to say further down the line they wouldn't, they might be prepared to...
Would they go on
to
pure
back
red,
to-
would they?
Well, they may be prepared to develop the game where their roots lie. So, but what do you say to him? Where is the sport going? What is the plan for the sport if you want to make a major investment in a new market? Should we be finding ways of making it easier rather than harder for them to bat at the top of the averages rather than at the bottom?
How many for next year in Toronto? They will be at London on Sunday. So we're talking about quality. We're talking about Leeds lack of quality. What they've got, they need to bring at least 6 to 8 players to even maybe knocking on the door of the top 4. How many players are they going to need in Toronto? At least a
I
dozen.
think they've already done some
Yeah,
recruitment in that respect.
I
think
would
there's
not
a wholesale
I would not be
change.
questioning. They will be buying players.
Yeah.
I would also
So how
say-
many do they need?
Oh,
Dozen?
Yeah, quite possibly, mate. Quite possibly.
I think you'd also say that if there is still going to be a marquee player ruling and the salary cap exists, but with that allowance, they will spend it.
Yeah, I agree.
2 players.
No, they'll spend it. I think we'll see a huge name at Toronto. A huge name.
There has been talk of the salary cap this week. I don't know if Barry Hearn said it should be scrapped or whatever, or someone's picked up on this. But why hasn't it gone up in line with inflation in the last however many years? Isn't it the same as it was in 2001 or whatever? When we got
Why do you want to up the salary cap and give ordinary players more money? Well, what for?
Maybe you can attract a better quality player.
Where from?
Well,
Where
Australia
from?
at the moment, the traffic is solely from the Super League to the NRL, unless you rehabilitate.
Right, all right, yeah, all right.
So, what's to say you
right,
couldn't
over
buy...
the last 10 years, then, how many of our players have gone to the NRL? Yeah, the Burgess boys.
No,
Tompkins,
there's more
Bateman.
going. There's more going.
There's more going.
This year, there's more
Oh.
top quality England players.
Oh, over
are
the
going.
last 10 years, how many have
So
gone?
how do you get some to come back? The only way you can do that is to raise the salary.
No, it's not, because the reason they want to go out there, all right, they might get a couple more dollars, a little bit extra, but they want to go out there and test themselves in quality. Let me just tell you this, you know the Burgess boys, because I watched the Burgess twins when they played the Kangaroos, I think back in about 2010 or something. The Burgess boys, and even Sam, he was struggling to make a name for himself at the Bradford Bulls, same as Josh Hodgson at Hull. Hull got rid of him. Hull Kingston Rovers, he was all a squad player from there. But the Aussies, given that opportunity from they would, you know what, they would be nowhere near the Rugby League players if they'd have played in Super League. The Aussies have seen that talent. I talk about trust what the coaches see and believe in them, and that's a freedom what they've given. And exactly the same with the players. But you look at the way that James Graham and Winner from there. But they're only going there, Phil, because they know they're going to better themselves as Rugby League players.
But also, we can't compete with the dollars that they're being offered. So even if they're going to sit and learn their trade, they're being paid more to do it. When you were playing, some of the biggest names in the sport came from Rugby Union. John Gallagher. No, there were...
Yeah, because allegedly they weren't being paid a lot of money.
But now they are.
Telling
You
lies
know
again.
that, do you?
Do I else? Do I else?
So how do we get a big name, potential England, maybe Welsh Rugby Union player to play our
Why do we want the Welsh? Why do we want the Welsh Rugby Union player?
Because the
When
game,
it takes
because
us 2
the
years
game-
to get used to
because
it.
the game has always been stronger when we've had Welsh Rugby Union players in it.
Has it?
There are some quality players out there that I reckon would be worth
Who?
going up.
Who?
I don't watch enough Rugby Union to name off. There has always been.
Well, I watch a bit of the Rugby Union, and you watch the Championships, what's just been played in New Zealand, South Africa, Australia, and Argentina. Not any of them players that interest me. Not no Welsh Rugby Union interesting player. England wouldn't interest me. Ireland wouldn't interest me.
Good signing All Black.
What for?
Well, because they're always good signings.
Are they?
Yeah, John Gallagher.
Phil don't
Mark
Danny
Brook Cowan.
Cipriani.
Phil don't
He
work.
knows Leeds well, Danny Cipriani. Get him
Danny
in.
Cipriani.
Mark
Yeah,
Brook
Leeds,
Cowan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can't think when they were
We've been
We can't-
asked-
we can't fish in that market
No.
with a salary cap.
Yeah.
So whether we should be is another matter.
We've been asked a little bit of housekeeping. We've got a flag on the desk.
Well, if you can't, this is for the YouTube people. That's the flag of the Democratic People's Republic of North Korea, because of course Pyongyang Pylons, or Pylons of Pyongyang, the offshoot team.
Is it the photograph of another Rugby Union player? Is it? How much
Yeah,
do you believe
it's
it is?
Gary's good friend.
One of your favourites?
Alan Tate is our studio guest today. Good afternoon, Alan.
Alan the Mole Tate.
I would also like to say we've got more advertising on the table of
yeah,
trade
If you want to
than Super
sponsor
League
our,
have.
if you want to sponsor the Sabutio rugby piece,
Yeah.
Well,
And
take any money.
there's insurrection
There's one here, look,
from
yeah.
a group of the crowd.
Schofield out, it says on one of the
Oh,
banners.
it's a bit harsh, boys.
Yeah,
It's
Schofield out.
Huddersfield.
This must be Fartown. Yeah, it must be Fartown. Very
Do
good.
you want me to, hold on, do you want me to go into stats again about my coaching career?
No, you're all right.
we need to say congratulations. Well, I'll do congratulations in a moment. First of all, International Rugby League results from the Emerging Nations World Cup, which is
World
brilliantly been
Championship.
World Championship, sorry, which is being brought to us by the people at Bar TV Sports on Twitter. They sent me a message the other day on Twitter. Are you in Australia? Can you do some sunrising? Sadly, didn't. Well, the answer, both the answers to that no. I can't do sunrising.
RSW.
It's been great, wasn't it?
You see, I'll be there.
You say
Send us
fly me
two,
over,
can't
I'll
you?
do it.
I'll do it.
Get me on for the next Greece game. I'll give Corkidas 80 minutes of it.
He plays captain.
I know. Malta 36, Philippines 10. Malta next up against Nui.
The island of Newey.
Greece 18, Hungary 20. Big Eastern European battle there, but Hungarians on top.
Watch that, it was a good game.
Vanuatu, the other team in that group. And then Solomon Islands 22, Turkey 30. It's another win for Europe there. Next game's on the 4th, which will be Thursday. Malta Nui, Hungary Vanuatu, Vanuatu, Japan Turkey, and Hong Kong versus Poland in Group C. So
Sounds
yeah,
really
it's on the
exciting.
internet.
You should. Yeah.
And
We're missing out, aren't we?
I'm against everything in rugby league being broadcast just for the sake of everything in rugby league being broadcast. But this is international rugby league, so it's different. There's a dimension to this which is different.
Who did Turkey beat?
They beat the Solomon Islands.
They gave them a good plucking, didn't they?
Well, no, they didn't.
How many weeks for that?
Let's thank God
You know
we
these
go away.
mic stands, they're actually quite heavy.
They are.
Do you want to
we go
test
away.
one out?
Other congratulations. First of all, Leeds Rhinos, they won the League Leaders Shield.
They did.
Which is a pathetic trophy, as I have to say. But they're in the semi-finals for the Women's Super League, of course, the grand final on men's grand final day as well.
And we will have a women's Lady of Steel or
Yes.
Woman of Steel. You can't help but feel they're making it up as they're going along, but we respect the fact
A
that they are
very
acknowledging.
worthy addition to
Yes.
the ceremony.
You know
You
what?
probably
By
have
the
to
way?
change the name of the overall ceremony because you can't say
People of Steel.
yeah.
Yeah. Lois Forsell is in there.
Yes.
She's out injured though, isn't she?
Yeah,
She's going to miss the rest of the
done her
season.
ACL, yeah.
She's done her ACL.
Mhm.
What is
It's
it with
catching
women
at
rugby
Leeds,
league
isn't it? It's
players?
catching at Leeds.
Jodie Cunningham had one.
Danica
Danica Prim's had one. She's got one. That's a big blow. I could not believe, by the way, Georgia Roach, Tara Stanley, the other two in the Women of Steel. I've seen them both play, both good
It's
players.
very, very good.
Georgia Roach is 17 years old.
Caitlin B.
She
Leeds
is a
fan.
wonderful
a
rugby
referee
league
as well,
player. Honestly, you won't.
And,
I
well,
wouldn't want to tackle her.
Hey
I'll
mate,
put
listen,
that out.
I love women's rugby league. I've seen it many years ago now. I love it.
Semi-final on
Absolutely
Sunday.
Well,
Up at
glory
Wigan,
days.
Leeds and Cass.
but the glory is back because Wakefield have won the League Leaders Shield in the Championship. Even though they lost to
love it.
Witness last week,
On Sunday,
well
I
done
might,
Witness
on Sunday, I
again.
might go and watch my adopted side working to beat the Bulls.
Well,
Beat your Bulls.
Here's
on
the
Sunday.
thing, right? Here's the thing, right? Leeds Centurions, Featherstone Rovers can't get enough players. Widnes, who started from zero at the start of the season, Widnes women, people who've never played rugby league before, lost most of their games, completed the season just about. So I know they've had their ups and downs and haven't been able to play every single fixture, but they're not professionals. And you know, Leigh and Featherstone supposedly so. Also, because we mentioned it in passing, but we didn't really congratulate the winners. Wigan under 19s winning the grand
Again.
final 9 times in 11 years.
Brilliant. And a great game as well. I think the quality at that academy level is starting to rise to the top. Let's hope that more and more kids are attracted to the sport at 16, 17. And if they turn out at 19, like the two teams that played in the final, that was another great watch.
Yeah, exactly. So well done to all.
Speaking of Widnes as well, Widnes and Hull Cars
London.
LDRL
Yeah,
teams
yeah.
yesterday had a game before the match and that looked good as well. So there's so many great elements of our sport that are outside of the Super League that we can be proud of and we should do more to promote.
Yeah.
And I've got
Awesome.
apparently there's a video referee on Sunday in Toronto.
Yes.
So
there
they found a video recorder in cash converters over there. So
is. Yeah.
good
It
news.
is.
Good news.
Talking of video referees and going to video referees, I'm pretty certain that there are two things from the NRL Grand Final that we can bring over here that will immediately improve our game.
Is it KFC
Well,
nuggets cheap?
One is two referees. Now, the question will be, where are we going to get the referees from? But one sits in the pocket, and if that's all they have to police, I'm sure we do have. But it is so clean and so quick. Not only does that make the game quicker to watch and more enjoyable, but it gives space for creative
You know,
players to
you know,
do
my
things.
dad. My dad has just works out the wonders of the internet. Right. This is my dad. That he ordered. I said, Dad, you know, because we've got two kids, teenage kids, or they were. Dad, you've got to get the internet. Right. Okay. What do I do? Well, ring BT up and say other brands are available. Get the internet. So he comes in. This is a while ago. He's got this box on the tip. I've got the internet. What do I do with it? He's like, thinks the box, and well, you need to get your computer now. And he's like, what? Anyway, we've got him a tablet. He watches Sky on the telly. And you know what he said about the NRL? He said, isn't it good that they play the ball properly?
They play them. It took a
That
while.
was his first
Because
observation
they have
about
to,
it.
because they've got a guy there that is going to penalise them if they don't. And because they've now got it into their system that they have to do it, it's cleaner. So one of the things we need to bring in, I think, is two referees just to speed the game. The other thing is they don't seem to go to the video ref to check anything other than tries. We've got to the point, and I think Rich and I saw it again on Friday at Leeds, we're going to check too many things. How do I restart the game? You know, can you just check if somebody's been injured in a tackle? We've got to get away from referring all the time.
It is a one as a
it's
sport.
taking too long.
Is Chechin's quit, is he? He's quitting,
Yeah,
is that right?
bring him over.
Why do we not say to him?
Oh, I think he'll.
You come here for a year.
I think
Or just even if you just come for a year,
Yeah.
we'll pay it. You come
Yeah.
over,
I think
see how
he'll-
you get on.
I think we'll see it.
And I think that may be something we need to start doing as a sport. I think, look, we've got I think from what everyone says, I'm not having it. I think the refs this year, by and large, what I've seen, have done really, really
Yeah.
well. And
I
that's not me with me with rose tinted glasses on. I go, and it's very rare I come away thinking, wow, he's had a bad game.
But it's the philosophy of what they're checking and double checking,
I
and
agree.
why games
I
are
agree.
taking 2 hours.
But what you find though is, Scully said this a million times, when we're at a game with no video referee, it's very rare you go, oh, well, that were wrong. You just think, alright, you see, you just got to get on with it.
Mark and Phil, I've said it many times, because when they're on television, they think they're part of the entertainment. So
Well,
we've got to get away from
the
that.
best one I've seen was Hicks when I did the whole Wigan game, and I forget, Wigan scored a try, and all the old fans on social media, rubbish, it were in the stand when he touched it down, and Matty Merrick tweeted a picture, went, well, this is a picture, and you can see he's put it down. And he called it like that, yeah, I'm giving it, no problem.
But I think there is a philosophy amongst the referees where they're almost are overly cautious
Is
of
it a
being
comfort
analysed.
blanket?
Yeah.
Is it a
And
comfort
if they get in on a Monday and it's a group of people in a room saying, there's the mistake that you made, we've got to get away from that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I get the idea that there's still going to be criticism of match officials for as long as we all live and beyond. But I just think, having watched it again live on Sunday in the NRL Grand Final, one of the reasons it was so enjoyable and went so quickly was, the quality of the play, but because they were allowed to play through having 2 referees.
Fair dues.
The table of tats. We would
I'm not having that. Can you not refer to it as that, please?
If you do have anything you want to send us,
Yeah.
it's 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
So stop the podcast. Because earlier, Tony, who obviously is a Widnes fan, very bad time, sent us a picture of a Mansfield Marksman pennant.
Oh,
Do you
yeah,
still get
love
pennants these days? I don't
that. Don't
know.
mind.
So we're very pleased to see that. If you've got any tat you want to send us pictures of, always happy to see that. Stephen says, while Scott's disappeared, how about getting the Woman of Steel on? That's a bit of a mouthful. On for a show, for an episode, and get rid of Scoey.
Oh,
That's a bit harsh, isn't it?
oh.
Oh,
Does it have to be the Woman of Steel?
No, it can be anyone.
What's that?
We just drag someone off the street.
Yeah.
What's that say? What's that?
Hello to all our YouTube viewers. Anyway.
What's something
I'd
on about?
offer you a maple syrup biscuit, but I've eaten
Eat
one.
them all, yeah. I was looking forward to wearing.
So, your biscuit.
No, I'm okay, thanks.
I was looking forward to wearing a Toronto hat today, but I don't think somebody's brought it, so
Oh.
I've not got a hat to wear. Vinny says we should call the pitch Tattersfield.
Hey!
That's very good.
Very, very good.
Oh, there's one for the teenagers. Stephen says, why aren't you in the studio? This is the studio. What are you referring to? We don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Sandy says, sport is about having fun and it's entertainment. It baffles me how people spend so much energy on being negative about the sport they love. Sandy,
Welcome to
Canadian,
Rugby League,
you don't
Sandy.
understand. This is what we do.
You see, Sandy don't have the mental scarring, does she? Oh, hey, sorry. I think it's...
Sandy's never been to Workington on a Wednesday night in the middle of winter.
No.
Well, when it looks like someone's back bedroom, it is. This is where Phil sleeps.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
On the table of tat. At Tattersfield.
Table
That's
of
that's your duvet cover.
Is that your duvet cover, is it? I bet you've got a Richie Myler duvet cover, haven't you, Phil?
No, just a picture. Just a
I gotta
picture.
Hold on, what are you... Have you just been in the draw, Nick, some
This
biscuits?
is game with the biscuit.
Or did you take one out?
In the,
Alright, I'll accept that.
One of the highlights of Friday, which was a rubbish game, I'm sure all the viewers of Sky enjoyed, was
I did enjoy it.
Did you enjoy it?
I did, yeah.
I
I
thought
thought
it
so.
was
It was
nice.
cold. It was
You
cold.
enjoyed what, Leeds and Toronto?
I had a couple of pints by this stage.
And a couple of quid on top.
Well, I'll tell you what, I
Possible.
had
Not enough.
Camel
quids.
I had a
responsible.
keepy luncheon over at Club from there, which went down very well by him. But I had a few shares as well, Matt, to be honest with you. And you're telling me that was an enjoyable game of rugby league? Do me a favour, you better get yourself to a well-known optician, my son.
What, that was that sold you them
It
bits?
was absolutely garbage.
Right, it was absolutely garbage. I could watch Leeds lose every day of the week. Don't have to have a go at me about
One of my favourite things in rugby league is big prop forwards who think they're hard, who push over little halfbacks. So well done to Ashton Sims rather than Richie Myler. Well done. Well, look forward to seeing you back
I'll
on
tell
the
you what,
telly
you know,
next week.
I wish you would have about him when, in my day with Cooksey and Kevin Ward and Andy Platt and Carl Ison. You watched would have absolutely murdered him.
You don't think he would have lasted long?
No, they battered him. They would have absolutely battered him. Yeah.
Stephen, this is the studio. This is our studio. This is where we live. We've been here for 6 weeks now. This is where we live.
Another Stephen.
Yes.
Go on.
On the Dream Team. I don't know why people get upset about the Dream Team. How is Ashurst and O'Loughlin in the Dream Team and Lomax? Because people voted for them. Stevie Wonder, apparently, according to Danny Maguire. But
So who did Danny think? Who did Danny think?
Danny's comment was aimed at Paul McShane, not me.
So who did Danny
why
think?
didn't you just write that?
Did Danny say? Has he given his dream team? Did he put his
I
dream
don't
team
think
out?
No, I think
I'm not
it was
sure.
more that Paul McShane
Well, why
had
didn't
been
you put that
excluded
then?
again.
Why didn't you put that?
I think he did later.
Well, Danny, if you're listening, just put it on. I'm sure that he's on Twitter, Danny, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Put it out there, Danny. What your dream team is, and then we can, who he's should have been in there. Who he thinks he should have been in
For
there.
people who don't know how it works, members of the media are given 3 votes on each position, is it?
Yeah.
5
5,
points,
3
3
and
and 1. So all the numbers are added up.
It's like the Eurovision Song
Yeah.
Contest.
So
Only we don't get to sing it down the front.
Yeah.
No,
Phil
Terry
goes,
Morgan.
hello from
This is the
Phil.
North Leeds jury.
North Leeds.
The posh.
5 points.
Goes to Richie Myler.
3 points. Go to Richie Myler.
Yeah.
So all the people vote and then they add it up with the RFL calculator. Ralph's there behind his desk doing something and he adds them
Hey,
all
do you know as well? On Friday, because I can remember it in our day, because we got some good ideas sometimes. One thing you
I
didn't
remember
want,
those.
one thing you didn't want is man of the match from the sponsors. Who got the man of the match for Leeds on Friday?
Tom Brisker.
Right.
Who deserved it?
Yeah, but what I'm saying, it's one way you don't, you don't want, you just don't want.
When they lose.
Oh,
Did you used to listen?
Oh yeah.
Sponsored by Stones Bitter.
Me and Masking Crease used to look at each other and go, don't say it's any of us first place.
24 cans of lager you
no.
used to get, didn't you?
Youngers.
Kestrel
Yeah,
lager.
youngers. Yeah. But we were like,
That was
oh,
a
no,
bonus.
please don't, because you got booed.
Oh,
You got booed when it came over.
Matt thinks the RFL calculator is rigged. No.
Come on.
Some of the journalists shouldn't ask. That's the
I
problem.
think if you're tweeting in saying that, you've got to tell us who you think should be in. You've got to give us
well,
one who
Stephen
should
has.
be.
Stephen
Go on
has.
then.
He thinks Louis
Right.
McCarthy should be in.
I think he definitely got, my 1 vote for Loose Forward, because there aren't too many
Right,
people
hold
that
on.
play in a
He's a
13
columnist in your magazine,
yeah,
and
that's
you
right.
only gave him one.
Well,
one
he might-
Well, Greg Bird anyway.
To be honest, it might have been 3.
Well, Greg Bird anyway.
I don't want to pull him up.
I don't know. They don't tell us.
Oh, don't they?
No, we just get told.
Well,
Oh.
imagine if they released those numbers.
Why do
You might
I
feel
get a
that
pick
people
for
are
them?
on
It's part of the media. Why do I get a pick?
Because you've got to know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's a bit harsh.
They read your column and go, no, what ask him?
I did vote for Bill Tupou for the Rugby League Writers and Broadcast Association Player of the Year, so I'm justifying that.
And with one vote, Bill Tupou.
So when he comes
Everyone
out,
looks down the list and goes, oh yeah, that idiot. That's
Adam,
Richard, not
Yeah.
Bill, by the way.
Brian says Adam Milner should be in there.
He's the one.
I gave him 5
He's the
for
one.
Loose Forward.
Ian says Ryan Hall. Depends on where the split of people are. If there are people who just watch a lot of teams over one side and not the other. Difficult, isn't it?
But who,
it's not.
would you, Ryan Hall instead of Tom Johnson?
It's not-
I think that's it's an interesting call.
There's no one in the team who would glaringly you would think. And we looked back on the way back from Manchester.
Been some belters.
Some previous Dream
Some
Team
belters.
players, which we won't name for legal reasons.
You know, Pointless. There'd be some great
Oh,
answers
yeah.
in
Oh,
who's been
yes.
in the
Is
Super League.
it nearly like his worst ever Leeds team?
It's not far
Some
away.
people didn't go on and perhaps grace
Yeah.
the higher echelons
I think
of the sport.
if we look in 10 years' time, at this team will go, yeah. All the names are, if they all fulfill their
Can I do my worst ever leasing for the
No.
Christmas show?
Yeah, for the Christmas show, yeah.
When we're not
For the
on,
Christmas
Do it on
show.
video, yeah.
Give all the Leeds fans a Christmas present, whichever. And some of them might agree, some might not. I would imagine that this Leeds team at the moment, some of them might want to be in Leeds.
James says that Man of Steel voting is too subjective. It should be voted on every week as the Dally M is, like the what's his name, Albert Goldthorpe thingy bob. One
Well
by
done,
Stephen
Stephen
Rashford.
Rashford.
Dally M was great. The way that they do that is really good. And it reaches a climax on the night as the votes are tallied.
When is the Man of Steel? Next week?
Next Monday.
Is it?
Are you
Are you
going,
going, Phil?
I think so.
We haven't been invited. Again, blackballed again. Blackballed.
You've been blackballed and I've
You
been-
know the
I've
only
been black
time.
tied.
You know the only time I get an invite to the Man of Steel is when about 10 people pull out the weekend before. And
I'm
I go,
an ex-
oh man, you want to come to the Man? No,
I'm an
you know, I'm
ex-winner.
busy.
I'm an ex-winner
Are
in
you not
1991 and I'm not invited.
Oh, surely not.
Yeah,
Surely
but
You have to give out the meter maker again or whatever it was that you gave out a couple of years ago.
Yeah, me and Brett Kenny, two of the best creative players in the game, and we give out meter maker and top tackler.
John Thompson, I don't
They
think
were
it's that
laughable.
one.
They were laughable.
Says Miller instead of Lomax. Well, Miller's the only one on the left edge of Wakefield that didn't get in.
No.
All the rest did.
It was the right edge of St Helens and the left edge of Waking.
I mean, that is the fun part of Man of Steel, is when the RFL do release the votes, you can see which people have voted for their mates.
So who do we think the winner Man of Steel then? Who do we think? We know the
Well, who
content.
would get your vote then? Go on, then we'll give our vote now. Send us yours in. We'll do a quick a total.
What of the 3 that have been nominated?
Of the 3, yeah,
three,
we've only got those to pick. You can pick for someone else, but they won't win.
No, I just
I'll
want
take the-
Even the RFL like that.
If we had an alternative to the 3 that they picked.
Well, all right. Give us the alternative. You can have an alternative, but I want to know the 3
I
who's going to win.
think it's really difficult because the 3 are probably the right 3, and I would have had Luke Thompson in there because I think if you're talking about the epitome of the word steel and someone who's done it every single week, even when his team haven't played well.
But you better watch an interview with Luke Thompson on Forty20's Facebook page later in the week.
Almost
As you will, like Justin Albrook and Sean Wayne. By the way, I spoke to Sean Wayne today. All our fears have been confirmed. Yeah.
What do you mean?
I don't think it was mutual consent.
Yeah, I don't think. Let's just put it this way: if he could be Wigan coach next year, he would be.
Oh yeah, we've had it. Oh yeah. Well, you see in the Rugby League World Monthly magazine, it said there, Wigan's in my blood.
Yeah.
It is, and I think we're going to win the grand final, and I just hope Wayne just absolutely rips into Ian Lanigan.
He's not going to. I asked him that
not.
question. He's not going to do.
He's got too much respect.
Who's going to win?
John Bateman.
John Bateman.
I'll go for Bateman.
No, I think Bateman.
Yeah, Bateman.
But I asked Justin Albrook who he would vote for out of his 2, and he said Ben Barber.
What's it about, really?
Yeah, he just said Roby's an outstanding player, but you want the best player in the competition is Ben Barber.
I think it's slightly ominous for the teams that are coming up against St Helens over the next 2 weeks that he does seem to have his mojo back that he had at the start of the season. We haven't spoken much about the games last week, but I think that 0 from St Helens is a real statement of intent.
Oh, Phil, Castleford were garbage. Castleford were
I
garbage.
just
Well, that's
think-
not that wasn't an intent last week. Sending out any sort of marker. Castleford were absolutely
I still think at
garbage.
this stage of the season to nil another team
No,
that is in the
Phil,
top
Phil,
four.
you can't take anything into that because Cass were garbage.
Well,
As Darryl Powell said, and even Sean Wayne said about Wigan, we were absolutely rubbish against them.
I think
Two
Saints-
totally
Saints-
different
They were
Saints-
rubbish against Hull and still won.
and still won. You know,
Saints- Saints are back on
where he'll take that himself. But there's, as I've said to the column, we'll get into the Saints, Warrington, and Wigan and Cass. But you can't take anything from Saints having a nil in Castle.
I think you can at
You're
this time.
kidding.
This time of the season.
You're
I think
kidding.
you
It
can.
was an absolute
I
nothing
think
game. And
Saints
Cass were garbage.
are back on track.
I'm not saying they're not back on track, but I don't think it says anything about Cass.
I didn't mention. I think it's important.
If you're going to make a statement, you've got to make it against
I
someone.
think
yeah.
Saints have got that resolve that they need going into a semi-final. Nilling an opposition that are also in the top 4 is a statement of intent.
Okay, fair enough.
We've been asked by Stephen, I've lost it, I think it was Stephen.
I remember when Bradford beat St Helens for like 46-4 in the preliminary final. I thought that was a statement of intent. I turned up at Old Trafford 2 weeks later and Saints won. Some statement of
Get your
intent from the
half-half
Bulls.
scores. Steve says, how does the Albert Goldthorpe Trophy work? How do you get points? Ask Martin Sadler on Twitter.
Yeah.
You might be on Backchat this week. Someone asked if any of you were on Backchat this week. Are any of you on Backchat this week?
No.
It's the last one, I think, as well.
Yeah, so I was on last week. I was on from a good friend from London.
So
I've been invited out to London. I'm supposed to go and doing the question answer for them next Tuesday down in London, down at Ealing.
The question being, why do you hate London?
I don't hate London. I've never said I hate London. How can I hate all the 6 supporters?
Oh,
I've never said I hate London.
That is an outrage.
Is it?
That is an outrage.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right.
You know what? I hope you get flogged next week.
They lock you in the toilet and don't let you out.
That's a bit harsh. Boys.
No, it isn't. No.
It is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Tweet us in at 4020 Live. Would you like to see Scully flogged publicly in London next Tuesday?
you know, everyone says the Australians are better than us. Well, Cepho says, in Melbourne, enemy AFL territory, they don't have enough podcasts. We English do well with Rugby League podcasts. Yeah, but there's quality and quantity, not necessarily the same things.
Yeah.
Should talk more about wine. Elsewhere.
We like a good wine.
Yeah. Punter number 1 says, someone tell Scully, oh, I'm just going off his screen. Now, Greg Bird, bear with me, caller. Just pause and pretend the internet's broken.
It's not all sit there.
Greg Bird only played in 12 of the 23 games that qualified for the Dream Team, and Catalan's only won 11 of those 23. Research is beyond him. Right?
Well, how many Lachlan play?
I don't know. Yeah, but it's the annual Sean O'Loughlin gets in the Dream Team.
Yeah, but having said that, as I say with Sean, every time he plays for Wigan, it's a quality performance, and he's their best player, isn't he?
The other thing about the Dream Team, which over the course of the last few years has changed, is that how do you define a position these days? It's very, very hard with certain players who are versatile to say he is the best loose forward when he's actually an auxiliary prop that he's playing at loose forward.
Yeah. Very good.
What happened?
A lot of people talking up Paul McShane as an alternative. He swept up at the Castleford Awards, didn't he, last night?
It'd be interesting to see how many people voted for him for Man of Steel as well. When we get the.
Hey, listen as well, fellas. Can I just, before the start of the show, Mark, you mentioned England squad gets announced
Tomorrow.
Now, don't what you say to me, Phil.
And England nights on Wednesday.
And don't you say to me, Phil, it's put in the column today in the League Express. Jackson Hastings, he wants to play for England.
Apparently he's England.
Yeah.
Honestly, and then I got some messages. Scully, what do you reckon? I can't repeat what I said, to be honest with you, but who's he played?
Would he not enhance the England team?
Oh, rubbish. Who's he played against? You know what? Do me a favour. What, just because he's played half decent, he thinks he's an international player now, does he? There's no way. He's nowhere near being a.
I don't think he put himself forward. I think he was asked the question.
No, yeah. No, but why is he even mentioning that?
Is he going to be at Wigan next year?
He wasn't even a first grader out in Australia week in and week out. He's nowhere near state of origin. Why does he think he can play international rugby league? A joke. Absolute joke. So please, the England management, don't even consider it.
I don't think he'll be in the squad.
Where do we think he's going to be next year?
He could well. The man who we're not talking about, if he doesn't play for the team that we're not talking about that he was going to join, they have got some serious creative issues, because I think they would have built a lot of attack around him. Bearing in mind the previous two teams that he's played at, he's given them an extra dimension. If that isn't going to be available, say, you might want to bring in Jackson Hastings.
Where's Jack?
But we won't mention it.
No. Well, there's nothing for us to say.
No.
Great timing. Timing is everything. Simon says, give London some positive vibes, boys. It's rugby league after all. We hope the best team wins on
Yeah,
Sunday.
look,
Yeah.
I'd have them both in. I would, honestly, I'd have them both in.
I think, going back to your original point on franchising, I just think we're getting to the point now where we have to map out the sport for 5 or 10 years. We have to look at the markets that we can develop and the ones that we strategically need. And for me, London has always been one, and the sooner London are at the top table, the better. And I think as a responsible sport, you do have to look at things like that. I think Toulouse have shown us, even though they haven't made, obviously, the £1 million game, and maybe that it's a year too early. Let's not forget that they've only been in the Championship for 2 years, so their rise to being within one game of the £1 million game is almost as good a story as London. I think we have seen that there is potential for 2 teams in Super League from France, but at some point you might have to make that happen.
Someone asked us earlier, where's the summer bash going to be?
Rumours that Newcastle is still in the frame now for a Magic Weekend.
Yeah.
They might get a reprieve and another year.
Yeah, that'd be good. Rubber there.
Guinness says, I prefer Man of Steel to be a rough and tough player rather than the best player. Best player should be player of the year. Man of Steel should be someone who does the tough carries, tackles, dirty work, etc. in the engine room.
I think
Man of Steel,
we've said this for the last 3 or 4 years we've done these shows. There should be 2 awards. The Man of Steel, which is literally the forward of the year, the bloke who's been the toughest, and the entertainer of the year,
Rubbish.
who would be a back.
Hold on. These forwards, most of them only play 20 minutes, then they're off. They're tough. You get the Man of Steel because you're tough.
Well,
What a load of...
what's
Colour.
John Bateman?
John Bateman's a quality rugby league player.
He
He's
just
got
played 2 minutes every
Yeah, but he's got creativity and he scores tries. Do me a favour, Man of Steel because you're tough. Load of rubbish. It's because you're the best rugby league player.
Celebrate a forward and a back.
Rubbish.
An entertainer and a Man of
Rubbish.
Steel.
All you do, you have a player of the year, you have a forward of the year and a back of the year. But Man of Steel is somebody different who's done literally maverick things, sensational things. Look, what, somebody just umping the ball up and umping the ball up? Do me a favour.
Bateman and Roby have done a bit more than that.
No, but Phil, they are different. They are different to the forwards. So, but you just
They're not
mentioned
different to the
give it
forwards,
to
they're
a
playing
forward
with
who's
it.
tough.
What steel epitomises. Luke Thompson is a man of steel.
Get them chocolate biscuits sorted out with you.
You're eating
Get
all
them
these.
tested. No, get them tested. Get them tested.
He hasn't
Get them tested with the dribble he's coming out with. A forward for the man of steel. Phil, do me a favour.
Man of steel. That's what it epitomises.
Rubbish.
Steel.
Absolute garbage.
What did Alan Agar win?
84, 84, 83, 84 when the
Well, it used to work that the man of steel was from the other category. So you had
Man of Steel,
Coach of the Year.
back in my day, the Man of Steel was over a 12-month period. I got the Man of Steel, obviously, I did alright for Leeds that year, but it was for my international performance as well, so it was over a 12-month period back in our day.
But you had
and it
to
was
win
picked by a panel.
one of the other categories to be man of steel.
Which other category?
Well, young player of the
Worst
year, player of
glasses,
the year.
obviously.
I never.
No, but that's how it started.
Is it really?
Ash.
Is it really?
Worst show.
Deirdre, is it that bad?
Honestly, I'm still looking for that option.
Good news from Vinty. Apparently, Northern Rail are on strike on Grand Final day. If you ever try getting a train to Manchester when there's rugby on, it's a waste of time. Another one of our sponsors. Yeah. But bloody hell. I went to the World Cup final in 2013, and the shambles of getting back from Manchester to Leeds was an absolute disgrace. But that's more about politics than anything else. Craig says, why is Man of Steel so hushed and not televised?
I think it'll be live streamed this year. The Championship and League One was live streamed by our league, so I suspect either Betfred's social media outlets or the Our League app will stream.
Is it next Monday night, the Man of Steel? Yeah, is it next Monday night?
I thought you were going to say our general.
Was it at?
We'll do something. It's a hotel in Manchester.
Still at Manchester, yeah.
I think if 4020 are there, we'll be doing some live stuff.
That'd be good. Well, it'd be nice to be asked.
Yeah. Martin apparently knows the England squads before we do, because he says, can't believe McShane isn't even chosen for the Knights team. Player of his class should be in the Knights squad at least. We'll find out when the squads are announced this week. I think those squads we had earlier in the season were very much a guidance as to what may happen.
I think they were the people that they got together once a month to start the bonding process, but it doesn't mean that players who haven't performed outstandingly well won't be included.
Well,
I think there will be some change.
Well, the two hookers are going to be Hodgson and Roby, won't it?
But McShane could be going to PNG with the night.
Oh, yeah, he'll go to PNG, won't he? Yeah.
What a great tour that would be.
Tell you what as well done to JJB, he's going to be the tour communications manager, isn't he, for Papua New Guinea. So, well done JJB, yeah, he's announced it. Yeah,
he's announced it?
Yeah, he announced on that programme what they do. And so...
On what?
On that programme, what they do. And,
other programmes are available.
And... Yeah, so well done JJB, yeah, he'll fit in with the PNG people, with JJB. Yeah,
he'll be the king when he comes back.
He'll fit with them people.
I've told him, get into any trouble, mention Paul Aiton's name, it opens all doors.
Sammy Jean. Isn't he the king or the emperor?
Tell you what's a great place, Papua New Guinea. Great place. For obviously a different culture, this sort of thing, but absolutely mad rugby league, and you just treat us heroes. You know.
You were, of course, part of the first England team ever to lose to Papua New Guinea.
The only Great Britain side.
Oh, the only Great Britain side. Sorry, I didn't want to demean your.
Well, when they come back, we've got another opportunity.
And I take full responsibility for that defeat because I was absolutely garbage myself. My first time I ever played standoff for Great Britain. Absolute garbage, and yes, I take full responsibility.
What would you
for us being
mark
beat.
yourself, out of 10?
I would take from performance.
I'm still an 8.
If I'm honest with you, 2.
Really?
Ooh.
2.
What was it like when you lost? What was the moment like when they won? What was it like?
Oh,
it must have been crazy.
It was just.
How many were there?
Well, it's a seven.
Well,
So
official.
We were in Port Moresby, so I would imagine there were more outside the ground than what was in the ground. I think there might have been 6,000, maybe max with that, but they would have been
more.
Double that outside because the travel, not by vehicles, they walk for 3 or 4 days because they know that rugby league games on football. They just walk for 3 or 4 days, and even when we were driving into the ground, in the 3 little minibuses we were on, we were just literally shaking the bus, and to be honest with you, Mal getting a bit frustrated. What are they doing here? I want to get up there and tell them, Mal, there's too many of them for you. But
There's too many.
They're just so.
What if there'd have been a couple of hundred left?
It'd be like Popeye. Give me some more spinning. That's what it'd have been like. But no, they are just absolutely sensational. I spoke to JGB about it. I said, listen, mate, just go there and enjoy what they have got to offer because they are sensational people. They are brilliant.
Dave's not happy. He says London in Super League, gate on Sunday, 840. What a joke. 2,130 at Salford. In the Heartlands. Been there forever.
Rugby League Heartlands there for you.
Been there forever. Sandy says, why didn't they move the Hull KR Widnes game to play at the same time as Toronto Leeds?
All the games should have been played together. But television rules.
By the way, speaking of looking out, what about Sean Lunn? Glad he's all right on the mend.
Yes, put out a tweet saying he's no longer infectious, but still in hospital. Hopefully be home soon, and we'll be able to join in with the awards night on Thursday, which was postponed from last Thursday.
Oh, they're having it again.
They're having it this Thursday.
Oh, very good.
Now they're safe.
Now so.
Very good.
Warrior Princess, probably a Wigan fan, he's worried that if Jackson Hastings came to Wigan, that his past problems at other clubs might be a problem. Disruption with other squad members. Warrior Princess would probably fit in quite well with some of the other people.
That's if they're there.
Criteria not applied to the person we're not talking.
Yeah.
No. See, Adrian Lamb's got a great job next year, hasn't he?
Yeah. Interesting. You can get in touch on Twitter at Forty20 Live. If you are watching along on Facebook, please share it with your friends. Let them know we're here. Get them involved as well. You can have your say here. And you watch on YouTube, of course. You can. What do you do on YouTube? Do you subscribe to you? How does it work?
Subscribe to our channel, add comments, do stuff, share our videos,
Very good.
click
And of-
like.
Yeah.
That's
And of course, subscribe to the podcast,
Yeah.
which again did really well last
we're
week.
everywhere now.
Record figures again.
iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, Podbean,
Is this
everywhere.
English?
Everywhere you can get
I think it's a
everywhere
bit of
you
street
can get
speak from Rich.
Hey, I tell you what,
So he said his hair.
I guess I better get this internet. I don't what's it all about, boys. This internet.
Yeah,
What is it? What do you do?
You don't
Probably
bother
best you
with it.
don't.
You don't want to bother. You get yourself into enough trouble anyway. I wouldn't bother.
So yeah, we're looking for. I mean, we've got this is the exciting part of the season. Now. We've got the semi-finals this weekend, not just the men's, but the women's as well. Grand finals in a week. All looking forward to going back to Manchester next week, no doubt, for another press conference. So what are the plans for the podcast at the close of the season?
It will continue.
With the
We
internationals
don't
coming
need
up,
rugby.
Keep the faith, Stuart.
internationals,
Keep the faith.
England, New Zealand.
Got any transfer? What do you think Sky do when the football's not on? They don't go off, do they?
It is more football. Would you believe
Sky
it?
sources
Some
suggest.
football has happened.
We'll find a game to cover, don't you worry.
Yeah, we will. We
So
will.
what's the and of course, we'll just find clips of rugby league players doing daft things like having the dogs on the pitch and stuff.
That was the image of the week, wasn't it? Never mind Cooper Cronk playing with a busted shoulder. Michael McAlorum taking his dogs on the field before the game.
I don't
Yeah.
know what happens after we are no longer here anymore. Not on this program in general, but I'm sure Eddie Waring, a famous dog fan on rugby pitch, as opposed to Ray French, who did not like dogs on rugby.
K9.
Exactly. Would have been a big fan of that. I'm surprised it was not edited over the.
You have to say
yeah.
though that plaudits to the Dragons for allowing that to happen. You know, it's
Yeah,
the last
well.
game of the season. You can bring your kids.
I'm
Yeah,
sick
but
of
hold-
seeing
and
hold
kids.
on,
Michael
hold on.
McAlorum turns up with his two
Mickey
dogs.
McAlorum walks up with his dogs and Guy goes, "What are you doing with them?" He goes, "I'm taking them on pitch."
Sure.
He went, "No, you're not." I went,
I think you'll
"I'm
find
taking them
out.
on pitch, mate." "Oh, you take them on, Mickey.
But even better, his dogs were dressed in dog jackets with the Dragons on.
Exactly.
Home and away kit.
I blame Dennis Wise for the whole "my kids have to be a part of every celebration" thing. So let's have more dogs and less kids. Martin says it's also the National Commons League Finals Day at Featherstone as well this weekend. So
It is.
There might be more there than watch Featherstone beat Barrow.
I was going to be unkind and say there might be more there than what's on TV, but I couldn't possibly comment. Figures back me up though.
What about Catalan going to the new camp? Boy, this is going to happen, isn't it? It's got to happen, hasn't it? Barcelona, fridge man.
Oh yeah.
Very good.
Also on the table of tat. In recognition of the fact that it looks as though they will be playing a game in Barcelona, and not just at the Olympic Stadium where they played Warrington in 2009 and still got their biggest attendance, just over 18,000, but actually at the Camp Nou.
You can hear Remy Cassidy talk about going to the Camp Nou with Les Coupes de Charange on our channel soon.
I tell you what, that was fantastic. You know, we've seen some really good video this week, dogs on the field, all that. But the actual Dragons and the way they were feted by 100,000 people at the Camp Nou, brilliant.
Well, they're winners now. They're
Well,
winners for a region, aren't they?
But brilliant to choose a game that was Girona as well, because that's
Yeah,
halfway
Girona.
between Perpignan
Yeah.
and so everybody in the stadium is a passionate Catalonian, and you can't win things as a Catalonian. You can win things as Barcelona wearing the Catalan colours, but there's very few teams that actually have the regional representation, and the reception that they got, that was absolutely genuine, brilliantly filmed by, I think Yannick Ray was on the field, their media manager, to get the response, not just of how enchanted the players were, but you could actually see that everybody, you know, to a man, woman and child, rose and applauded their achievement. They won't have a clue what the Challenge Cup is. But isn't that what it's about?
Yeah, but they're winners
Isn't
now, aren't
that
they?
what
Winners,
it's
aren't
about?
they? Yeah.
You know, what a great boost for the sport to have 100,000 people, again, who don't really know it, cheering some guys who are walking out with some...
Just imagine what they'd have been like if they'd have turned up with a league leader's shield.
What?
Oh, you what?
And pass that around.
Yeah.
Take
Well, they could have
collect-
frisbeed it
take
to the guy at the top.
Take
Yeah.
collections. Yeah.
After a new player. Yeah, put something like that.
It was brilliant. Again, I don't know if you've seen it because it was on social media, but 100,000 people stood and
Yeah, but also,
applauded.
did Barcelona get beat as well? They got beat, didn't they? But they were bottom of the league that
I think they
season.
drew.
They got beat.
I think
No,
they
they
drew.
lost. They lost.
Well, it doesn't matter, does it?
They lost.
That's not the Dragons' fault.
No, I'm not saying it.
Steve McNamara's fault.
They got beat.
Stuart sent us a picture of watching us on a big telly.
All
He says,
right.
please give out the scores at the Emerging Nations World Championship. We already have.
I've already done that, mate.
We can do that again.
Yeah, people-
Well, wait,
people-
listen to the podcast. Subscribe and do it.
Come on, Malta.
Malta, Turkey, and Hungary were the winners today.
Yeah. Richard keeps asking for our semi-final prediction. We do the predictions at the end. Well, we'll start talking about them in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, we're not talking about the games. The games itself.
I'll tell you what, we've waited long enough for them, haven't we?
Yeah.
We have, yeah.
Looking forward to them now.
Is the league table now as the league table was at the end of the regular season?
Yeah.
As in 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think Hull might have dropped, but yeah, the 1, 2, 3, 4.
How did they say?
And we've got the Championship Shield is not on the thing, is it? It's not on the docket for this week's fixtures.
No,
Or
it's
is it?
there.
Is
Of course it is.
Oh, right.
Featherstone Leigh, 3 o'clock.
Coming to you live on the Our League app.
Abandoned at 3:05 due to a bad head clash. Not enough players.
First 12 people who came through the gate ended up playing.
Yeah.
What,
Remember, I don't know if you saw it the other day on the football, Notts County gave their fans they were playing at Exeter away, and basically what they did is they got a load of old proper playing shirts from the old last season or whatever, and they gave it to like the first 100 players, 100 people got in, they give them like one of last year's playing shirts, so they're all made up with that. It'll be like that at Featherstone on Sunday.
Thank you very much.
It'll be,
No,
you're on the
playing.
bench.
Yeah.
You're in the back row. Just line up against the wall, right? You big lads, you're in the forwards. Yeah.
Bradford Workington,
Yes.
third time this season. Workington have got our good friend Leon Price, got the wood over them at the moment. Do you reckon they can do it for a third time?
What's to be up to do because apparently Leon's going on holiday next week, so he won't be here for the game with Swinton. So it's a game they need to win. All the pressure's on Bradford, but I think having won this weekend for both of them, they've got 2 bites of the cherry now.
Yeah.
And I think even if they don't win this week, with the greatest respect, and by the way, what a job Alan Kilshaw's done.
Well, I was
to
going to
get
ask you about
Rochdale out of the mire, they released him saying, "Well, we're going to lose loads of money now because we're getting relegated, so we'll have to get rid of him." And then
I don't
stayed
understand.
us. What's that all about? I tweeted him last night. I went, "Well done, Alan, great achievement." I said, "I still can't believe you're leaving."
Well, we was at Featherstone last year and they played very well. They play the right way and all that. So.
We talk about great young coaches, and James Ford is the one that obviously springs to that. Alan Kilshaw was one of the next cabs off the rank. It seems like a scandal that because we've changed the structure, a man has now lost his job who didn't need to.
Has he got another job to go to?
Hasn't been announced yet, but that might be because Rochdale have only just finished playing.
Well, Dewsbury's come up, so he might finish at Dewsbury. Nick Kelly's left from there, so there's a position there for him, isn't there?
But do you reckon that Workington can do it again, or do you think? Actually, I thought the banana skin for Bradford might have been Oldham.
Yeah,
but they were so comprehensive winners at that.
Yeah,
Bradford will take that into the next game.
It's going to be a tough ask, isn't it? But they've done it twice. It's going, haven't they?
Look, they were playing in confidence, and as Leon said last week, there's no pressure on them. It's all on the ball. So if Workington get a good start and maybe go 6, 8, 10 points up, it's all about the pressure. Can Bradford handle the pressure? But with this fixture, what they've got, extra fixture to qualify for the championship, which is ridiculous. Then they get a second bite of the cherry, don't they?
Toss of the coin as well for the venue.
Yeah.
Shows how
Are they doing it over the telephone?
It's on the Our League app. What's a
Called it wrong.
coin toss?
No, they're gonna have a guy there from Swinton at the end doing paper scissors rock on the pitch
with the coach of the other team.
Yeah.
Or the mascot.
Yeah.
Well, do Workington have a furry mascot? I don't know.
I don't know.
Let us know. On Facebook, And he says, should Hull go to Gateshead to build a team up again?
Well, we were looking at we were looking, weren't we, at the previous dream team.
Gateshead had a
Gateshead had
two
two men
And
in
they were
one
only
year.
in 1 year.
Yeah, and they had 2 men in the dream
Who
team.
won it? Who won it?
Matt Daylight,
Daylight was
and
in.
Willie Peters.
who signed for Wigan when
Yeah.
the team was summarily
Well,
disbanded.
he was a scrum half, wasn't
They've
he?
never more in than Widnes have had over their whole tenure in Super League.
Oh, we should laugh.
But yeah, there's been some. Say you go look at some of those names who've been in dream teams. I think did we get to about 1999 where it was like Dennis Betts, Andrew Farrell,
Yeah.
Jason Robinson, Chris Relish, and you think, whoa, this is a good team. Then you get a few years later and you're thinking, yeah, I'll take them lot to beat them.
And also as well, gentlemen, Mr. Hamlin, the Widnes fan again, he's wrote in the letter.
Oh, has he? We got another letter?
No, he's wrote. Yeah, but it's okay. He's wrote in the letter page, and he's not blamed me for Widnes getting relegated. He's used his common sense. And he's blamed the players, he's blamed the committee, and he's blamed everything else. So I don't get a mention saying, because you slag us off, Scoy, because you say we're garbage, that's why we've been relegated. He's used his common sense and blamed the people, which is the board.
You
and
don't
the
know
people
what was
also.
edited out of the letter.
So well done, Mr. Hamlin. You've used a bit of common sense when you've sent your letter in this week.
I think Mr. Sadler went, I'm not having my columnist criticised again, so I'll just say that line out.
They edit their letters.
Are you suggesting they're editing?
Oh yeah, there is that.
My understanding is just print any old rubbish.
You can't talk about my boss like that.
No, in the letters page, not the main bit of the
sure,
paper.
right.
Well, not all of it.
Oh, I thought it meant your colour. Sorry.
Oh dear.
Davis said, did Rich have a lawnmower
No.
accident? That's a bit harsh.
Looks all right.
I heard the council had been round, so he had a trim.
Well,
on
they can't
it.
build a bloody stadium, so they might as well do something.
Mary Crow's playing out a
I think
statement
she's put
tonight
out a statement.
saying,
Yeah. Well, MP, stop putting out statements. Do your bloody jobs. Going on holiday for a week in Blackpool or whatever you do for your party conferences. Steve says Hull FC to get relegated next season. They're Hull and Leeds.
They're not going to have as many injuries, surely. Are
you
they?
wouldn't think either team would, but Danny Langtry a good signing? Is that what Hull fans were expecting when Adam Pearson says we're having a clear out?
Has
I have nothing
Adam
against Danny Langtry.
Pearson had a shocker the last couple of months? I think he has,
I think so.
hasn't he?
Well, I think we
Is
said,
that-
we said that on here, didn't we?
When
It's
it
very
went-
easy to say we're going to have a mass clear out.
When he
and
made
then-
that statement 3 weeks ago, he's gone quiet, hasn't he?
Well, you bring in a guy from Salford who's French, 20-year-old at his third or fourth club. Great potential, but he's not the kind of bloke that's going to change your fortunes. And someone who absolutely deserves their chance at the age of 27 to be in Super League, and he's rumoured to be linked with Gareth Hock. I'm not sure Hull fans were expecting that as the response to 11 losses.
What,
on
Gareth
the bounce.
Hock's going to Hull?
No, it was only rumoured. I don't think he is, but.
You alright, Ledge?
I'm going to get a start. Gareth Hock going to Hull.
It was rumoured. He won't, I don't.
James has asked us about the Championship Shield. We spoke about this earlier. Should Leeds just forfeit the Championship Shield final to Fev? No, they should get it. Leave it with no winner. Like the
Have a roll up.
It's the last one.
yeah,
have a roll.
We were looking at this on Friday, and in
Here we go. Great start.
1987, 88, the football authorities, in their wisdom, decided to create or bring back the Anglo-Scottish Cup. And they did it as a two-leg playoff between the cup winners, right? So Coventry won the FA Cup and they beat Spurs, and St Mirren probably beat Celtic or Rangers in Scotland. So they played the first leg, and they never played the second leg because no one was interested. No one went to the first game, so they just didn't bother. So no, right, lads. So I want a statement from Ralph tomorrow saying that Championship Shield. Nah, you're all right. We're not bothering. We're going to keep it. We're going to use it as an ashtray. So
That's a bit
The league
harsh.
leaders will get it next year.
Yeah.
Do you think the league fans will travel over? They're not going to waste their hard-earned money coming to watch that rubbish alley on Sunday.
It's the trophy
Yeah.
nobody wants.
You don't want to be in it. Oh, you were there when Bradford won it against Sheffield. I mean, what was that
And
like?
then went bust.
They were rubbish. They were pathetic. Absolutely pathetic.
Well, the first-
And you know what? The thing about it as well, the players were pretending they were enjoying it.
It meant something to Toulouse, I think, when they won it, because it was a measure of how far they'd come.
Yeah.
But I think this is one game too many.
The first year they did it, Featherstone beat London, and it was at Widnes, so it felt like a cup final. I think it was a League One playoff before, and now it's just in your backyard. And
There's no purpose to it whatsoever. There's no
No,
purpose at all.
it's games for having the
Yeah,
sake of
And
it.
it
There's no
highlights
purpose.
everything that's wrong below the top four in the Championship
Agreed.
this year, in that we've had more games than ever before where we haven't been able to field full 17s.
Russ has asked, dear Mr. Schofield.
I feel like we should have some music underneath.
It's like points of view. Someone should read this in a regional accent.
Where's
Dear
it
Mr. Schofield, in your pre-season review, you claimed Broncos would finish 8th.
I think you said 10th actually,
from? I
Russ.
said
There you
10,
go,
so
you're
get it
wrong.
right, will you?
We also previously claimed that we made no contribution to Super League. As Broncos are now 80 minutes from said Super League, would you like to apologise? Ain't holding me breath like, says Ross.
No, I'm not apologising. It's like I said on the TV show I did last week, and when I got asked, is it Ron
Knox.
Yeah, when Ron Knox asked, regarding the London, so I said, right, okay, I'll answer it quite simple. You've been in the game 38 years, you still can't get crowds of 1,000, you still don't have your own stadium. So tell me what you've been into Rugby League. That's exactly how I answered
Gary,
it.
you could aim that comment at a lot of other clubs.
I know,
A lot of players.
But a lot of players. How many?
Well,
How many?
more than some.
How many?
Well, exactly. But there are players like Matt
I bet
Davis, who's
there's not-
just been signed by Warrington.
I bet there's not a dozen.
Louis Bienick, that's just been signed by Hull.
I bet there's not a dozen. We've had 38 years of it, Phil.
But
So
we,
anyway,
we haven't backed it in the way it should have been backed. We should have had a regional
Phil,
centre of
Phil, the
excellence. We
RFL,
should have
the
development.
RFL got them out of the mire 3 times. The last time I think was
We haven't had a
it
plan
was around
for
about
London.
2002, 2003. I was on a Rugby League show with John Ledger from there, and I think there were 3.3 million in the mire, and the RFL rolled it off. So they've had 3 goals, and the RFL have fixed them out.
Well,
Yeah, David Hughes
look
put
at-
about
look
20,
at-
25
look at
million.
I
Melbourne.
can't imagine
How
any
many
teams in
times
North have had financial trouble over and
No.
over again and gone bust.
or been
Bailed
advanced
out.
television monies.
So I'm not apologising for London. Not a chance. No way.
What about if they win on Sunday?
Oh, no, I'll applaud them. Yeah, well done. But still, they're getting Super League. What's the crowd's going to be? What's the crowd's going to be?
Alright.
Probably about.
And what's the crowd's going to be when they come to away games?
It's not
Nothing.
Away games don't. We've got to get away from this idea that it's how many they.
Well, all right.
win
Well,
from
how
away
many have
games.
got their own games? 1,500.
Well, the only person that's a concern to is the guy who's paying the
I
bill.
understand that. But please don't everybody say we should. Promote London, because we've had 38 years of them, and where are they? Mr. Branson were there for a while. They got to Wembley, but he didn't stick around long, did he? There you go.
How many years?
Next question
How many
from
years of
London,
leave have we
please.
had?
But we should have Cumbria in though, shouldn't we?
I'm not saying we should. Oh, if they combine, if they merge, but that's not going to happen.
Where's Marwan
So-
Kukash's Cumbrian Lakers? Where've they gone?
Oh yeah.
They're like New
Wasn't
York.
that the
They don't
name-
exist.
Wasn't that the name of a horse instead?
Yeah.
Not possible.
Cumbrian Lake
With Brian Noble.
to win the Melbourne
Noble
Cup.
horse. Randy Chase horse. That was good. I think Jimmy thinks they're actually going to cancel the Championship Shield final. We're just making it up. We have no power.
We know.
It's on the fixtures. It
Would
must
Leigh
be
have
on
front
there.
ticket
It's
money
gonna
if the game didn't go ahead?
Come on, guys, we've only got 20 minutes before we start, for the big games on Friday.
Brian says, what does Mr. C have a problem with away supporters? Because they're irrelevant. They don't, if they don't
Yeah.
turn
You
up, they don't
don't
turn up.
build your business around away support.
Wakefield used to do.
You-
Look what happened to them.
You can promote games against different options. I think what York have done is exactly the way you need to go. They've built a core home support. They've doubled it this year, which is immensely commendable. Not about how many away fans. What they've done is built up the games against teams like Toronto to make it a must-be-at event, and that's what clubs have got to do.
How long do we think it'll be before James Ford is coaching the Super League side?
Signed a 3-year deal on it with
Yeah.
York full time.
Yeah, but and I say like
They're in the championship next year.
like Richard Marshall at Halifax from there. We mentioned Killshot, Rochdale. We've got some quality young British coaches coming
Yeah.
around, but how soon is it before Ford is giving that a chance?
I don't think it'd be too long. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not offered an assistant role first, because he's very young, and I think that needs to be taken into account.
I think it's a real challenge for him coaching in the championship
Well,
next year. That's the next stage.
And
of
I
his
know
development.
he's just gone full time, but from going from working part time to saying, "Well, here's a Super League club," and it's like, wow, I mean, that's going to be a lot of things to take on. So I think maybe he would have to do an assistant role. But hey, if it happened, I won't have an
I
issue
think
with it.
Francis Cummins gave an indication that he doesn't expect to be Widner's coach next year.
Hold on. He's got an even worse record than him.
Oh, it's
So
a bit harsh.
who's going to be the coach of Widner's next year?
I don't know.
It ain't going to be me.
No, you weren't in the top.
You're overqualified. 2 wins in 15.
13.
13. sorry.
13.
2 wins in 13.
Better than Tony Smith, John Keir, Mal Reilly, Phil Beavers.
What happened to them?
Yeah.
Hold on.
How come
Hold
they're
on.
all
Your
saying-
Leeds playing got to play at sea this year for his stats.
Not
Just
you reckon they just put all the names in a hat and pulled one out? That's how they drew the player.
Yeah, but, I reckon pull it out and went, oh, no, we can't get away with that. Pull it out.
Andy says you need away support, or Andy or Sue, I'm not sure. Creates a greater atmosphere.
Yeah, it does, but
You can't
know.
build your business around it.
no, you can't.
Dawn says who cares, but I don't know what about.
No,
so I'm lost.
Dawn, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, we just sit here for 2 hours every Monday talking about just these people running around, knocking the ball on and blaming referees and stuff. New referee at Wakefield this week, apparently. Still got dogs abuse. Since thought we lost to Warrington. Oh, but it doesn't matter. Fifth in the table.
You happy with that?
Yeah, of course. Probably fourth. Fifth, yeah. Spending about the same as Widnes. Look at the crap Widnes have bought. Leon's not here this week, so we can say it. Apparently, the Hull KR fans gave Chris Houston a standing ovation yesterday. Why?
Because his team had just lost 30-0 and ensured their
I know this is kind of
stay
like
in Super League.
I'm picking on him, but you had to go to the fans the other week because they can't understand why Widnes players didn't understand why the Widnes fans weren't happy with their efforts this season when they've been crap and lost to everyone who's any good, and then battered into Phil Bentham, got away with it. You know when they do this parade of you said before we should have a parade of
We got away with it once.
a parade of retiring players. You only should have the parade of retiring good players who've added something to the sport, not everyone who's retiring.
Hey mate, hey listen, there's a big.
They have to get the Richard Chorite stamp of
well,
approval.
he's good.
Here's the list. He's not coming in.
Well,
What about him?
Richie, that would be called the parade of journeymen. That's what that would be. 'Cause that's all we've got, journeymen.
On Sunday before the Championship Shield final.
That's all we've got, journeymen.
Oh, that's really harsh.
Oh.
That is really
No,
harsh.
it's not. It's just been nice. It's been nice. It's not.
It's
It's
like,
not.
it's like when people
What do you
talk
want to see a parade of journeymen for?
It's
That
like
have been
when we talk,
absolute
right?
garbage for most of the season.
We're in the part of the year where people are talking about the Hall of Fame, right? And people say, right, so there are many people are going into the Hall of Fame. We don't know because no one tells us. And people go, oh, it should be X, Y, and Z. And I'm not going to name them because it's unfair. Having just.
Well, I was going to say, you just dug one out.
Well, apparently Don says they were congratulating him on his efforts in the game. Brilliant. What's he done? What's he done?
Would you advocate a stall with rotten fruit on,
Yeah.
whereby you could hurl it at said player?
Oh yeah. Oh, some players I'd love to have thrown.
That needs to be an alley.
Live, it's live.
It's when we get to this part of the season and we talk about the Hall of Fame and whatever and who's going to go in. There's 23, 25 people in there already. It's a select group of people. It's called the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of had a good career, had a long career. The Hall of Fame. It annoys me.
I want a guest. You haven't
I
mentioned
think
it.
it's like when Wakefield fans lionise Michael Corkines. I just don't get it.
Captain of Greece today.
Yeah, it was.
Age
Right, come on.
84.
We need to talk about the semi-finals because we have waited about 9 weeks for these, so they better be worth it. But I think they will be worth it. So,
Right, let me start then. Right, so as I said in my comment, I've just started out after 7 weeks of garbage, of watching the garbage that we've seen at the top 8. We've got Saints v Warrington. So just a couple of points I want to pick out. And when you look of all the four sides with the 1, 6, 7 and 9, each of the four sides have all got sheer quality, haven't they? The spine of the four sides,
13 as well, or just
they're all
1, 6, 7 and 9?
no, 1, 6, 7 and 9, yeah, because 13 nowadays they don't play like they used to. Then when you look at the both forward pack, but I said from a Warrington's point of view, the big call for me for the coaches, does he pick Declan Patton and leave Roberts out? I would leave Patton out and put Roberts in. I would. I think the players are more comfortable playing with you with Declan Patton and Kevin Brown at the half backs. Secondly,
so hold on. You are going to leave the highest paid player in Super League out.
I couldn't care less.
The marquee
I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less if
signing.
he's a marquee signing or the highest paid player. Declan Patton's playing better than him. Also, too, the second point is Warrington. What sort of game plan they're going to come up with? Are they going to come up with sort of stereotype like they did at Wembley, as we mentioned?
Well, I
a couple
spoke
of
to
weeks
Steve
ago?
Price today. He said
Yeah.
their game plan is done. They know what they need to do.
Right,
to win the
okay,
game.
well, that's what well, if it's the same one at Wembley, we'll have no chance against St Helens. You know, Clark didn't even run after that until the 53rd minute. And then, you know, the Warrington pack, can they handle St Helens from there and all? And so, 3 questions for Warrington to come up with. Is Patton playing before Roberts? Can the packer forward handle St Helens? And what is the game plan going to be? And I just think Saints, with their mobility in their pack, and certainly with the creativity at our packs and the speed and Barber coming from there, I just think Saints have got too much for them. I do.
So Saints to win quite easily then for you.
I've got Saints by 13. Yeah.
I think Saints have had their lull that every team has, and very hard to keep the intensity levels at the top throughout a series of games where they don't actually mean anything. But I think they've got the mojo back the last 2 weeks. I think they've got the attack right. I think the defence is back to being as miserly as it was during the regular season. I can't see them not winning. I think this is of the two the easier one to pick. I think Warrington have done exceptionally well this year to make a cup final and a semi-final of the Super League, but I just don't think they're ready yet to beat the Saints team that I think have got their measure this year. And I'd like to see Saints get to the grand final in the same way I think we all wanted Castleford to get to the grand final last year, because I think their performance over the 30 games, they deserve to. They've entertained us regally this year.
So do you? Would you have Robertson or Patton?
I don't think it matters because I think St Helens are going to win.
All right, okay.
Rich, having just knocked my bottle on off camera, just having criticised players who are rubbish.
That's why you're a runner-up.
Yes,
That's why you're a runner-up. Son.
Loser. That's what it is.
Loser. You are a loser. That's
loser.
official confirmation
Losers
that you're a
medal.
loser.
Losers medal. Andy says, why have the pack? Why a win easy? We also had a message from Lenny, who wants to give credit to Steve Price for the job he's done in turning Warrington around from where they were at the end of last season.
Yeah, I would agree with that. My worry about Warrington is they don't win the big games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've said this before. They lost at Wigan, a game they should have won. They had ample chances to win that. They lost to Saints after the hooper went to that penalty, a game they should have won.
Mm-hmm.
They lost at Wembley. They were red-hot favourites to win at Wembley. They didn't win. You know, they got beat by Saints again the other week. I just look at them and I think they've lost too many big games. I think mentally scarred's probably the wrong word, but look, they've got a good record against Saints in previous years. But I think this is a different St Helens team, and I just worry if Saints are 7 out of 10, they win quite easily for me.
And I think Barber settling his future has taken that potential cloud off the horizon.
Yeah.
They've announced Lachlan Coombs coming in to replace him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jamal Elise is going. They don't feel the need to replace him on the backroom staff. I think they're in the place they want to be and need to be, and that's why I think they'll win.
I think another thing as well with Warrington is, you know, how can Warrington, you know, decide what they've got, or the game plan, we don't know what they're coming up with. So we see it on, is it Thursday or Friday they play?
Thursday. But to be fair, when they're hot, Warrington, they can be great.
Yeah.
Are they going to be allowed to play like
But this
that?
is what I'm saying. You know, how are Warrington going to beat St Helens? You know, I'm trying to come up and thinking, well, the game plan, what they're going to come, how they're going to do it. Are they going to try and bash this St Helens forward? They're going to play around the ruck area from there, or they're going to move the ball pretty quickly, you know, early in the tackle count because they've got a bit of speed and this sort of Ratford coming in. So it's going to be very, very interesting. The first 2 or 3 sets for Warrington, it'll tell me and tell everybody, right, okay then, Warrington have half a chance here tonight. Okay. It'll tell us in the first 2 or 3 sets.
Fair do.
Just to answer Brian's point on Facebook, because he's asked a couple of times about supporters. He says, it amazes me, all year you guys have been banging on about getting more bums on seats and the RFL must do more for internationals and Magic and Championship final. Yet you would think away supporters are not important. Totally contradicts what you've been saying all year, rant over. Now, I'm not saying they're not important, but the clubs themselves, the home teams, should be selling out their stadia based on attracting people to watch their team. If Huddersfield take 20 people and they go on a skateboard, it's irrelevant. The club who is hosting the fixture should be doing all they can to sell out that fixture themselves and not rely on Leeds coming along with 2,000 or whatever. I don't know the numbers, I'm just coming up with a number. Or all of Hull. It's a simple thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. Look, it's
Clubs
great,
are too easy
and
to
we've
blame
all
for
been
the
at
big
games, and one is going to be a prime example is on Friday night, because Castle take a load.
They're 4,000 already.
Yeah, they'll take a
So
load.
they're
I was
taking
saying that quarter final of the Cup, that end was full when they beat Wigan on their way to Wembley. It adds. We know it adds to the occasion. Of course it does.
Yeah.
But I'm with
your
Rich.
business plan shouldn't be around how many might come that you can't control.
Yeah.
It's different for cup finals and internationals because that's game led. It's not club, an individual club led, and they are occasions in their own right. If you're looking at increasing your average crowd, you do that with your home fans.
Yeah, exactly.
And your away fans are an adornment.
Right, let's talk about this game then. Grudge match. I asked both coaches about it today. You'll see them both later on 4020. Darryl said to me, look, I've never really spoke to Sean Wayne. I had a good chat with him while they were waiting backstage. Said we had a really good chat about rugby. He said, I think there's a bit of mutual respect there for what our sides have done. I asked Sean Wayne. He just said, look, I don't really know Darryl. You know, I respect his team. Both said it is not a grudge match as such, but it's a key game because it's two teams that are up there now fighting.
It is, and it's a grudge match. Don't worry about that. And you know, overall the two coaches don't like each other. We know that. It's as simple as that.
Well, as Sean Wayne said, Darryl Powell will be hoping to end his Wigan career on Friday night.
Exactly, you know, but that word respect, yeah, they have respect for each other, just not just as people, but as coaches, but the job's what they do from there. But as we've mentioned a few times, you know, we would have liked this to be the final, wouldn't we? You know, to be honest with you, from there, but it's not going to be. But as I say, boy oh boy, I think this will be brutal. I think we will be absolutely brutal because, as I said in the column, you know, we know what the Wigan pack's going to be like, and also as well, Leigh won't have to be taken to his forwards. Hey, listen, this is what you're going to expect. This is what you're going to expect. This is what you're going to expect. They know exactly what they are going to get from that Wigan pack of forwards, and as I say again, when you look at the spines of the side, the sheer quality all round him, this could take up to maybe 45, 50, 60 minutes before we see any sort of magical sort of play, because I just think they're just going to get ripped into each other.
Well, Cass got blown away in the opening 20 minutes into there early in the season.
Yeah.
Or in the Super 8.
But Cass have learned, as we know from last year, everything what's got there. So I don't really think we'll see the ball move pretty early in the tackle count and tested on the left-hand side. I think this is literally going to be brutal, and I don't, maybe until the last 20 minutes, until we see a bit of magic from either Gale or from Williams or O'Loughlin or Milner or this sort of thing. I just wish we were seeing this at the grand final the week after this game.
I think this will be very similar to the St Helens Castleford semi-final last year. It will go probably to a late penalty, a drop goal. There won't be a cigarette paper between them. Both have got so many incentives to win this game. It's very hard to imagine Sean Wayne, Sam Tompkins, John Bateman, Ryan Sutton walking off a home field not having won. By the same token,
we saw the weekend, mate.
Yeah,
Fairy tales don't always happen.
Oh no.
It's very, very
but
hard.
You know what as well though, Phil and Mark, Rich, I don't think we're going to be saying, hey, listen, you know, this is fairy tale. You know,
No.
we're talking about, they're not performing on Friday night for sentiment.
No.
They're performing because they want to get to a grand final.
But I'm saying it's
as simple as that.
It's hard to imagine them walking off the field not having won their last game at Wigan. By the same token, everything that Castleford have been building up to all season,
good call,
on the basis of what happened last year, is this 80 minutes.
Correct.
Because they need to get to Old Trafford as a group to right the wrong that they perceive.
Well, Darryl Powell,
how can you call it?
Darryl Powell said again today, he said, look, we were at Saints, we got hammered on the opening night of the season, and they were singing You're Just a One Season Wonder. And he said that has been our motivation
exactly.
to get back here. And as he said himself, he wants to get rid of that picture of him looking up at the sky at the end of the game. He wants to get rid of that.
Do we know if Ollie Holmes is going to be fit? Because I think they've missed him the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, possibly.
They need a strike second rower.
But they can't afford to gamble, or can they afford to gamble? I don't
absolutely
know.
not.
Oh no!
If you're not fit, you can't play because the physical intensity.
You know, the players, you know, they're not a Cooper Cronk who can, you know, literally manage his way around. You know, there's nobody that sort of calibre from a Cooper Cronk. But I tell you what, as well, I'm certainly looking forward, because I say the forwards, they are going to get ripped in. As I've mentioned, it's going to be brutal. I'm looking forward to the halfbacks. You know, the creativity of Gale and Truman. When Truman made his debut last year, you know, ripped Wigan apart for the first 40 minutes, and with his creativity
having a
inside.
scan, is it tomorrow? I think.
Is he? And
by
then,
now
you know,
it's Truman
and the halfback, you know, with Lulaway and Williams. That really, that will be the decider, the creativity of the halfbacks, because the forwards are ripping. A forward pack is going to have to not give in, but they're going to have to say, oh boy, we're going to need some help here from the backs. You know what I mean? You know, so. But I can't split them as Phil's mentioned, but I just think Wigan, the home advantage there a little bit, and just maybe that experience. I'm going Wigan by 7. So Saints, I'm going Saints v Wigan grand final. But for Cass, I want to see them back there.
The one worry I have is they have had injuries all year, and it sounds like they've got, you know, Shenton's got an issue, Truman, Moore's potentially a doubt. I've never seen them and felt they've had the best team out on the field and produced.
How fit do you think Luke Gale is? Because I know that it was a really serious injury.
He's not. Well, he wasn't
They've
fit.
eased him back.
He wasn't fit by Darrell's when he put him in at Hull. He ran out of gas, didn't he?
Has
He
he
played
got
twice since then.
enough to dominate this game for 80 minutes? Because he's going to need to if Cass are going to win.
I just think the chips are against him, if I'm honest. And
I'll say this is Shenton.
I've got a vested interest in Castleford winning. I really have.
How serious is Shenton? Is he serious? What's he got? His knee, shoulders?
Yeah, knee. I think. Yeah. So. I just think there's one or two. No doubt Wigan will have the same.
Absolutely.
There'll be players that we don't know about that have got knocks, and you just want to see the best team out on the field for both of them, don't you? Let the best team win
for this 18, because I don't think any of us can hand on heart say. I mean, I think we favour St Helens. We think that being at home and the way they played this year, that Warrington would have to do something really special to beat. I don't think you can call this Wigan Cascade. I genuinely don't. That's why I'm looking forward to this. Like we've all been looking forward to it for 7 weeks.
And also, this might sound controversial. Wigan have won the last 8 games. They've won every game in the Super 8. Superb effort from them. But barring the Saints game, I ain't come away from a game thinking, wow, they've played well. I watched them at Huddersfield, they played all right and won. I watched them at Hull, played all right and won.
Apparently they weren't that good this week.
That's what I mean. They're winning.
Well,
they're winning.
That's a worry.
But that's what
the best is yet to come.
But that's what you take into the semi-final, isn't it?
It's a worry, but also as we've said, many times when after that result last year, the grand final, we're all saying, Cass will learn from this and they'll get back from here. So it's that experience. But as I said at the start of the column, after 7 weeks of the garbage what we've been watching, I tell you what, fellas, I can't wait for Thursday and Friday night to see these 2 games. I can't. I think they're going to be absolutely mouth-watering.
And I hope that whoever wins, that we get 70-odd thousand at Old Trafford, that neutral fans will say those 2 semi-finals have reinvigorated why we watch this sport. And whoever wins, we need to be there for grand final night.
If the name we've been told is going to be the next Winners coach is the next Winners coach, those fans are going to absolutely love it.
Well, is Chris Houston play coach?
No.
Who is it?
Well, we can't say it.
Cass.
We've been told in conference.
Cass.
All right.
Well,
We'll take
not that much confidence.
No.
A source close to it.
So who are you going for, Mark? Who are you, Wigan or Cass?
I think Wigan.
Yeah.
I really do financially want Castleford to win.
Yeah.
But I haven't come away. I just said I haven't seen Wigan play great. Well, I said did once against it. I haven't come away thinking that would Cass at their best. So it might be to come. It might be. This might be their week. This might be their week.
But not that year.
What do you reckon, Rich? Wigan to Cass?
I think, as you say, it's too close to call. I'm tempted to go for the draw. Listening to you three talk about the game there was, first of all, starting with Wigan, then slid us across to Cass, and it's...
There's quality
You know,
players
yeah,
on
yeah,
both
yeah,
sides.
yeah, yeah,
There's match
yeah.
winners on both sides.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
but-
hope everyone turns up and they're all fit.
This
That's
is-
what I want, and
this
then
is what you
then I'll
want.
be excited. I almost feel I'm going to get robbed of a game because some guys might not make it. But that's sport, and as it showed at the weekend, anything can happen. On a rugby
Well, when you look
field.
at both, you look at Saints, Warrington, and as I say, you look at the matchups from everywhere, from fullbacks to wingers to centres to hookers, loose
Well, these are the
forwards,
best 4
you know.
teams in the competition.
Absolutely,
so,
by far.
Yeah.
By far, they deserve where they want to get, and I say I can't wait for it. As I've just said, 2 minutes ago, repeating myself. Having watched the 7 weeks of garbage that's been out on there, I cannot wait for Thursday, Friday night. Can't wait.
And then Sunday you've got Featherstone. No, forget that.
That's
So
the
it
worst,
can't
isn't
be a draw because we go into golden
Golden
point
point.
extra
Yeah,
time.
because you draw 80 minutes.
So who will emerge victorious? Who will be at Old Trafford?
You know what? Having remembered back to all the great drop goals we've seen this year, it's Wigan, isn't it? Sam Tompkins is against
Yeah,
Leeds.
against Leeds.
What a
Even
drop
better
goal that
than
was.
because it was against Leeds, of course. But it was a great
astonishing
drop
drop
kick,
goal.
wasn't
From
it?
the touchline,
Touchline,
about
40 yards
metres
out. Yeah,
It's
Oh,
just-
very,
get
very,
over.
very reminiscent of.
I mean, I have to
White
say,
Sox.
it looked like it were running out of power, but me and Rich managed to just got it over.
So, I've got
Never
asthma.
in doubt.
I tell you what, you don't have to know how to spoil a good show, you two.
Ah,
Don't you know how to spoil a good
Leeds are
show,
going to win
you
the
two?
Women's Super League.
Yeah.
aren't they? There,
The treble.
there you are.
The treble.
Yeah, they are. They're going to win it all.
Does that mean next year they'll be in the Women's Super 8 and get relegated?
Qualifiers.
Qualifying.
They've got 8 teams, so they might be all right.
Super-
Hold on, by the way.
What?
Your team Bulls are rubbish, and Wakefield, they're not being
Finished
much better,
fifth.
so there you
Finished
go.
fifth.
Alright, they're not much better.
We're not much better
Alright,
than
they're
Bradford.
not much
Yeah.
better. What have you won?
Picking
What
on
have you won over the last 10 years? Say no more.
Well,
Championship
Shield.
Shield. Yes.
What have you won over the last 10 years?
Championship League
What have you won over the last 10
Oh,
years?
actually, hold on.
You've got a dump of a stadium. You haven't even got a stadium dump of you, so you know what I mean. Yeah.
Oh, it's
Don't have a pop at the best rugby league club in the world.
Even Phil Kaplan says you're clutching at straws. That's how bad that
I'm not
argument
clutching at
is.
straws.
Yeah,
You two are.
Just think
You
England squad
two are.
tomorrow.
Eh?
England squad
And then
tomorrow.
everyone can get annoyed about that.
England night's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Man of Steel
England
next
women on
Monday.
Wednesday as well.
Yeah.
Grand final a week on Saturday.
Bring it on.
We're ready.
International. England,
Download the
France.
podcast.
We didn't talk about England and France, did we? Being on the app.
Ah, no.
We'll do that next week.
Never mind, we'll do that next week. Good luck to all the teams involved this weekend, be that in the playoffs, the Championship Shield final, the League One playoffs, even the amateur game as well. Good luck to everyone. Thanks to Phil, thanks to Gary, thanks to Richard as ever. Thanks to you for watching. Please download, like, subscribe, review the podcast. We will be back next week.
Schofield
and
out.
Schofield out. That's it. Good night.